Alright everyone, we're gonna get started on another CPL cast. Not Match of the Week this time. My personal stream. We're doing some tier 3. We're having a good time. It's me, it's Saetzero. By myself tonight. Maybe if someone jumps in at some point, that'd be cool. Otherwise, old school solo cast, chat interaction, having a great time. But we're gonna get cracking on this to begin. It's Amigos versus Rhynadon's Revenge. The tier 3 stuff. We got a couple sets of games. I think we have 4 sets of games tonight. Should be interesting. We're gonna get just right into it right away. I could shill a bunch of stuff though first. I should shill stuff. If you haven't played your game yet, deadline's tomorrow. You should do that. Make sure you're hooking up with your coaches, setting things up. Make sure you're signing up to playing all the things. Make sure the replays are uploaded so we can cast your games. Other than that, there's a post on the CPL Discord recently about some of the things going on that like BSL 11's happening right now, and then you also have that show match with DeWalt and Boneth. Like that's gonna be awesome. Make sure you check that out, whether you see it live or on the VODs. I know that's going up soon if it's not already, or live now. I have no fucking idea. And then Rogues Gallery, the RCR, is started up soon. I think groups are decided. All this stuff's on the TL. All that stuff's in the CPL Discord. You can check it out there. But we're going to just get started into some of the casting tonight and see how things are going in the beginning of some tier 3 play. Alright, so in the bottom right, in this dark blue, it's Ice Axe playing some Zerg. And in the top left, it's Ruzo in that olive Zerg. So ZVZ to start the night off. Get some action in the mix. Gonna be a good time. Always curious to see what we're gonna see from these players at these lower levels, because you don't know what strategies are gonna do. They might not be as focused on doing really optimal stuff. Maybe they didn't get to work with the coaches just yet. And ZVZ is a little bit of a wild card anyway. Expect to see like some 9 pool stuff. Fast layer, like it's kind of the usual things. We are in the week 1 map pool, so first map being Circuit Breakers, and then it's Sylphid and Shakur's Temple if needed for the game 3. We're not seeing anything too crazy just yet from both players. We're gonna see when they get that 100 minerals. Is it gonna be Overlords, or are they gonna be saving it for a pool? Looking like Ruzo gonna be starting to save up, and Ice Axe building an extractor, going for an extractor trick, so wants to sneak out that 1 extra drone. So curious to see what that's going to be. Maybe early hatch, early pool. We'll have to play that one by ear and see how things are going. I don't know the math on any of that kind of extractors and stuff. We are seeing 9 pool from Ruzo, and the extractor being taken right away. Going to be able to get that gas going nice and quick. We are seeing a lot of minerals coming up from Ice Axe, so it does look like it is going to be that 10 hatchery instead. Which, I mean, it is Circuit Breakers 4-player map. You do have to find them. They are cross spawns, which is a little helpful for them. And both players sending their Overlords the same direction, even though that's maybe a little bit more of a call from Ruzo to check that out. So that'll be interesting to see where we go from there. I think Ruzo could be in a position to get some damage done, but with this early hatch, there's going to be so much extra larva. I think it's going to be difficult to really break through. As long as Ice Axe doesn't get caught out of position, or like it doesn't get too greedy trying to make drones too much. Bunch of lings on the way for Ruzo here. That's 6 on the way, and Ice Axe back at home. That hatchery is just building up, working on an extractor too. So there's going to be an opportunity. First 100 gas for Ruzo spent on Zergling speed, not a lair. You see 6 lings on the map already moving across. This first Overlord is going to go to the top right and not see the opponent, so they're going to have to take a guess. I'm curious to see which way they're going to just blindly go. It seems like they're going towards that bottom left, so it's going to be a little unfortunate to not find the opponent there. Ooh, actually I like this. Sending 1 over to the bottom left just to scout up, but sending the other ones longer. Since it's going to take more time to get there, like you can always just turn around and just making sure that if it is that cross spawns, if there is something, they won't be able to get super punished for delaying it too long. Alright. Ice Axe getting some lings up of their own. Gonna have a little bit of that defender's advantage. We're trying to engage right away to get things going. And taking a lot of free damage here, not taking some kills. Now we're seeing reinforcements from Ruzo, and that link speed now done. Gonna be able to maneuver around, but Ice Axe has a decent amount of lings. You can see the fight being taken out. Ice Axe losing a couple here without doing too much damage to Ruzo. More lings getting flooded in, but remember that larva advantage from Ice Axe is going to make a pretty big deal. But these links managed to take some pretty decent engagements. But Ruzo losing everything here, not making use of that leg speed just yet to maneuver around. So has a lot of things killed. Back in Ruzo's base, though, that lair is completed here. So going to be working towards it. Managed to find an opportunity to get a couple drone kills here. Got to be careful, though, once Ice Axe finishes their own link speed, which is, you know, on the way. It's pretty close. It's going to be interesting to see where they go from there. Seeing a lot of links being built up, though, and Ruzo keeps trying to put the pressure on, but slowly getting some damage done, but slowly also losing the links. If he loses everything, and Ice Axe has a good amount built up and their link speed finishes, this could be really dangerous for that nice counterattack we're seeing. You see Ice Axe, so really building up that link count, and even stopped mining gas for a while just to get the extra minerals. I don't know how necessary that was. It's going to slow down all the tech severely. Back in Ruzo's base, that Spire's on the way, but now it has to prepare for this giant flood of links moving across. Even making a creep colony, gonna try to get it sunken up in time for defense. Doesn't quite have the amount of links they're looking for to like block the ramp or anything, so try to turtle up just back at home, buy as much time as they can. But this Spire's in a pretty exposed position, and Ice Axe really building a lot of links. It's gonna be hard to actually defend this. And you can see there, Ruzo losing all the links without too much issue. That sunk is not going to be able to get completed. Link's going to be in here doing a lot of damage, and Ruzo going to have to tap out there. That lane advantage from that fat hatchery first, really coming in clutch for Ice Axe in game 1. Alright, so we saw hatchery first, and that leading to a good win for Ice Axe in game 1. We're going to see if game 2 turns out any differently between these two players. This is going to be on Neo Sylphid. And in the bottom left, I'm not casting black. Top versus bottom. Yes, these guys did it, made my life easy. In that bottom left, it's going to be blue. It's going to be Ice Axe. Up a game right now. And pretty convincing win as well. And then Ruzo going to be in that red Zerg over in the bottom left instead. And we're going to see from the way these overlords are moving, Ice Axe will get that scouting advantage. Ruzo, unfortunately, going to be able to missing that one a little bit. So, I mean, this is a much different map, 3-player map, a lot shorter moving distances. No opportunity where you might not get scouted for a while, as you saw Ruzo trying to do that 9 pool speed, send out 6 links, end up being cross spawns. No such luck in anything like this. So curious to see if it's still going to be that early hatch opening from Ice Axe, if he's just going to lean into doing one build consistently, or if he's going to do something maybe a little more map appropriate, not willing to risk getting punished for doing a hatchery first on this map. Well, I mean, I was saying that might be an option, but Extractor Chick again from Ice Axe, back at home, Ruzo doing the same thing. Doing that 9 pull instead, so it seems both players committing to the styles they've done before. Extractor on the way as well, so it's gonna be if it's gonna be that 9 pull speed, that's what I'm expecting. Ice Axe again going for that early hatchery, but that might be a lot more dangerous on this map. There's no ramps to kind of choke your way through. There's much shorter movement distances, so Ruzo even is especially gonna get that first overlord and be able to see his opponent's not there. So that'll be good information enough just to figure out where his opponent is. Ah man, ZVZ just a bit of a weird matchup. I like watching it though. I try to like playing it, but it's so hard to actually micro any of this stuff. This pool on the way now. Link's getting made from Ruzo, so he's going to be able to commit through. He's going to have to make a little bit of a choice, but that second overlord going to the left, going to spot the blue one from Ice Axe, give away the starting position. So I don't think there's any chance for any kind of deception about where the players might be starting. And Ice Axe going to be going for that same thing we were seeing before, pool, getting gas. Has the hatchery out in the open, but a lot shorter distance. We're going to see if Ruzo's going to be able to move across and get something done. And you see the Lings now on the way here, and the Overlords should see each other. That should give Ruzo the info that they need. Even though they didn't, the Overlord at the top didn't quite get to any of the spot where they would see anything. You can already see Ruzo seeing from the Overlord, moving in towards Ice Axe to be aggressive. Now the pool's finishing, and they do have the larva, so they're going to be able to get some things here but still 6 lings early on. Speed's going to be on the way soon as well. They might be able to do some damage, maybe take down hatchery, or if they go into main, just try to go for that. But you can see Ice Axe making a whole bunch of lings into production. He's just trying to go for the hatchery now before the lings could really get in a spot where they're going to be able to stop him. But here, look at all the lings from Ice Axe, going to be able to throw that off. And it's early lings from Ruzo, not actually getting any damage done. And you can see that both players feeling reasonable about the spot they're in. But we've seen link speed from Ice Axe on the way here, and we're not seeing a lair. So it's going to be, again, that delayed lair timing. But Ruzo, if he has better lane control this time, might be able to lean an advantage. Losing a couple of things early on here, and Ice Axe has that larva advantage, so Ruzo needs to be careful not to just throw away a bunch of stuff here. See the lair nearing completion for Ruzo, still making links, trying to put pressure on, not trying to sneak in drones or get any kind of greedy here. So, this could easily turn to the kind of game we saw before. Hatchery did take a lot of damage, but still be pretty far away. Link speed finished for Ruzo, but still just more links out here for Ice Axe. He's going to be able to buy the time he needs, but this is enough time for that Spire to be on the way. Ice Axe sees the timing of everything. They wanted to flood in links here while their speed's about to finish. That might be the way to go, and considering that they stopped mining gas and they're not trying to get a lair, it really seems like they're just trying to link flood and get whatever they can done. But it's got to happen before Mutas hit the field, otherwise Ruzo is going to be able to defend it without too much issue. Now, a little surprised to not see Ruzo trying to get into a good defensive position. Maybe you're trading back to home to just stay outside the choke. But Ice Axe link speed finished now, flooding in a whole lot more links. A little counterattack from Ruzo. This is good to get 2 links back here at home. There's going to be plenty of reinforcements to help defend this, but this could still get a couple drone kills. Confirms no lair, confirms no anti-air. So as long as Ruzo can survive long enough to get these mutas on the field, this might go good. The fact that Ice Axe has this larva advantage, has more links, and not being aggressive, it's really going to buy Ruzo a lot of time. And look, even one sunken on the way, second creep colony to match it as the Spire's about to finish here. And that's going to be able to get some mutas on the field. All these Overlords are not going to be able to do anything. But look at this move out from Ice Axe. So many links just moving across the map. Is this going to be enough to break through and kill Ruzo before things get too out of control? Oh man, unfortunately, I think Ruzo getting choked up by a larva and money a little bit here. We're seeing the move out though. The Link's protecting the Sunken, just trying to go for there, but that Spire's still exposed. No attacks on the buildings at all, just a big fight. Lings versus Lings, the Sunken helping out a lot. A lot of Lings end up surviving though. They're going to be able to take out the Sunken, but they're on the clock because of this one Muta, and actually doesn't take out the Sunken, barely survives. So Ice Axe really committed to an attack there. Ruzo barely hangs on to defend it. We're seeing more Lings on the way though. Ruzo trying to move out with that Muta, but with how dead this Sunken colony really is, Ice Axe still putting it under a lot of threat. Lots of Lings being rallied over the minimap. But one Muta is going to be able to go over and try to get some counterattack damage. Evolution Chamber on the way. That means anti-air is still pretty far off. But it's not like one Muta kills things quickly. The pressure from Ice Axe still trying to go down, but look at this Sunken still alive. I can't believe this thing still hasn't gotten killed off yet. We're seeing Ice Axe really just trying to lean into it. Just making little packs and just sending them right across. This Muta has so many kills already though, between helping with the lane defense. Be able to just chip away at all these drones. Spore Colony's gonna finish soon, but look at the damage it's already done. Still, there's a lot of money for Ice Axe, so it's not like he's in dire straits. He has the larva to remake drones without too much issue. The Muta's gonna be able to poke around. Maybe it'll do some more damage, but looking like they're gonna retreat, trying to get back here. There's lots of Lings in the main already, a lot more being rallied. The Mutas are gonna find them though. Ice Axe is gonna have to act soon, otherwise she's just gonna lose his army. Needs to commit here, and there's not ground forces. That Sunken, still barely alive, finally goes down. Lots of Lings still in the main. Ruzo trying to defend against it, but the Muta Cat's really kind of grouped up here. Drone's fighting as well, but he's going to be able to take out the Lings before too much. That second Sunken up at the top really helping out here and making sure everything survives. Ruzo took some damage, but not nearly as much as those Mutas did in the first place. And you're seeing Ice Axe, he's not going to be able to get to lair. He doesn't have the money to really afford anything here. And he's just trying to get more lengths. He knows the game's going to get worse as time goes, so he's just trying to end it now, not trying to re-drone up or survive. But these Mutas moving across the map. Still plenty for Ruzo. It's going to be hard to not losing lings just in any kind of way. He's even just sitting here taking the damage here instead of moving out, instead of trying to force these moves out of position. Even a couple lings from Ruzo, just if they can engage the fight and buy a little time, get a bunch of free damage. But you see the lings trying to go for a counterattack. Back at home, that's one Sunken's about half health. There's not a lot of ground force for Ruzo, still just leaning into the mutas, has plenty to work with. But they are still slower than the lings. There's still opportunities where Ice Axe might be able to get some big damage done. But the options seem to be dwindling here. You just don't have the number. You still have to overpower the Sunken, and these mutas, as they get more plentiful, are just really kind of making it easy. Seems like Ice Axe tried really hard to get through some of these fights, but just wasn't enough to break through. And now Ruzo really in control of this game. He's going to be able to start going to overload hunting, or even just putting more pressure on some of these other bases, because there's still no anti-air at that natural that was taken with the 10 hatch. Yep, and that's going to be enough. Ice Axe going to tap out of that, and first series you see of the night is already going to go to game 3, so that's a good way to open a night off for ZVZ. Curious to see though, what's Shakura's Temple being that different map. Might be a much different game with this 10 hatchery. I think Stilford really helped out Ruzo there. And also just Ice Axe being a little more passive than he needed to be. Well, that's fine. We get to see more Shakura's Temple, more game 3s. That's all I'm ever looking to see. Just people having good sets and having a good time with CPL. Now we're getting into game 3 in the top left. It's going to be Ruzo. He's playing that red Zerg still. In the top right, we got Ice Axe, and he's got that blue Zerg. The Overlords both moving south. Neither are going to scout each other, so no free advantage from either player. So we're going to have to see if there is something between these two that's going to change, or is Ice Axe still going to go for that hatchery first and just hope that the 4-player map is enough to kind of take them through this and manage to keep going forward. Well, we're about nearing that time where we're going to see if Ice Axe wants to keep doing the same build over and over. That extractor trick should be coming up pretty soon. I do like the choice if he wants to go for it again on the 4-player map. It makes sense to me that you have less resistance, less guaranteed scouting from your opponent. We are seeing a different build. Ruzo actually going for an Overlord here. So not going to be going straight into that 9 pool speed like we were seeing before. And Ice Axe mixing it up this time too. Not going for extractor trick, not going for hatchery first. Now Ice Axe is going to be the one doing the 9 pooling. And we're going to see from Ruzo if there's... Maybe he's trying to game the opponent. It's like, oh, you did this 10 hatchery twice. I think you're going to do it again. And he's trying to game it out a little bit. Maybe 12 hatch or 12 pool. Something a little more economic. Especially I think if he wants to just have that extra larva to help him survive some of these spots. But it's just going to be a 12 pool. Just a little bit greedier. A little bit more drones to work with. The pool positioning, it's definitely in a spot where it could be abused a little bit, but Ice Axe not going to have the larva they're looking for like we saw before to really kind of flood in with lings to get something different. Then we might see both players finally hitting lair, and we're going to see that muta versus muta battle that you like seeing so much in ZVZ to see who gets to control it a little bit better. Ice Axe making the first 6 lings, not trying to sneak out drones or do anything crazy and greedy, but with 12 pool you definitely have some time. Especially if your opponent doesn't know where you are. That first Overlord just now getting to that natural. That's not even confirmation about anything to begin with. So Ice Axe is going to have to take that guess and see if they can find out where the opponent is first. If they're trying to get in. But even still, 12 pool. It's going to finish in time. There's going to be plenty of larvae. Ruzo, if they're willing to stay on the map and not move out. And actually, look at this. The second hatchery going down as well. I'm going to be looking for if Ruzo's going to cut the gas once he gets to 100 and be going for the same style we were seeing from Ice Axe before, or if he's going to keep mining gas and go for lair. As I said, that lair gets started, so we're seeing 2 hatchery, plenty of larvae on the way, that 12 pool giving a little extra drones, and the lings are going to pop just in time. They can get to the ramp and set up the concave, but Ruzo not really trying to do that. The concave not super good, but still gets a good engage to start with, and Ice Axe already losing. You see Ruzo trying to micro the lings a little bit, pulling them back, and keeps a couple alive here. Ice Axe losing the first 6. and that's not exactly what you're looking for here. Now Isaac's still going for this the fastest Zergling speed, but he pulled guys out of gas, so still not getting any kind of lair or anything. But without the second hatchery this time, you're not going to have the larva to really flood in a bunch of links. So I think the way we're going about this, you see Isaac's trying to set up taking an expansion, but now it's so late in comparison. And Russo already has the 2 hatcheries on the way, has the lair on the way as well. So there's definitely an opportunity for Russo to really abuse this a bit. And you even see some links moving across the map. But an Overlord is going to be here. Russo's going to be able to see that there's an expansion that's not even close to being finished. And know that Isaac is doing something a little bit funky, trying to send some links across the map. But there's so much more larva for Russo right now. Especially if Isaac takes another bad fight as he tries to force up the ramp, this could be really bad here. And link speed for Russo is about to finish up as well. Another fight at the ramp. Russo still using the high ground, still doing a good job pulling away links as they get damaged. And with that defender's advantage, taking another clean fight here. And you see Russo doing a good job buying time. And in comparison to his opponent who didn't even start a lair, we are actually already seeing the lair finish, Spire on the way. And Russo is going to be moving across the map with superior links. Both players having link speed too. It's not like there's any kind of advantage. And that Overlord's in the base, confirms no lair. So Russo can just do what he did last game, just wait for mutas. Let's not take any risks. Still putting pressure on, but getting a good opportunity. Wants to start harassing this hatchery a little bit. Needs to be careful not to lose a bunch of these links for free. But takes a little damage the best he can, pulls away, gets a little bit more on the high ground advantage just to make it a little bit harder to try and fight these. You can see both players accumulating links pretty hard, but Russo did have that the larva advantage. A ton more links on the way. Spire still hitting like on the way, and with gas still being mined, whenever he gets the mutas, he's gonna be able to make a few. And look at Isaacs. Look at all this money he has back at home that he can't afford to spend right now. And Russo's still putting the pressure on, but it's like there's no tech on the way. And it's not like there's more hatcheries for Isaacs or anything. He needs to really win some of these early fights in a good way, or try to survive a little bit longer. But once mutas hit the board, I think Russo's going to take a big lead. And you can see Russo still more links, still finding better engages than Isaacs, and doing a lot of good damage throughout these. Still floating links across the map. The Spire is now completed. We're not seeing any mutas on the way. But Russo just using the advantage he already has. And if you look at Isaacs, there's no sunken here. There's no defense. So as he's losing all these units, he has all this money to spend. Unfortunately, he wasn't trying to spend it to survive through this. And now mutas are on the way as well, but these links already in the drone line doing so big damage. I think Isaacs really kind of fumbled where his advantage was in this, and just not going to be able to keep up here. Russo, good job seeing where the weakness is. Trying to push down that sunken, doesn't allow that to complete at all. And everything going down for Isaacs. Russo taking a pretty convincing 2-1 victory after Isaacs' build looked pretty strong in game 1. Well, definitely a little bit surprised to see that kind of result, but that's definitely good from Russo. Taking the first set for Amigos, we're going to be able to move into the next game and see where we're going from there. I think that was the only ZVZ for the night. Second set we're coming up with Pros versus Zerg, the classic matchup, especially when you're looking at a lower tier play. It's real easy for people to lose to DTs, lose to lurkers, lose to just Hydra busts and all these kind of things. So curious to see where we're gonna go in this game, set number 2 for the night. There we go. All right, in the bottom left, let's change the colors. There we go. That's better. Bottom left, it's SC2 Ares playing that teal Protoss, and in the top right, it's Beanie Beans. Beanie Beans? Oh man, I'm gonna trip over that a lot. And he's playing the Zerg, the yellow Zerg in the top right. Still on circuit breakers, cross positions. I'm definitely favoring this for the Zerg a little bit. If you play Protoss against Zerg on this map at all, it definitely can be hard if Zerg gets control of the map to break out into the middle of things. So curious to see where we're going from here and what kind of opening we're going to see. We are seeing a wall at the front, none of that Telvanni 2-gate in-base nonsense, just throwing zealots at the opponent. But with us playing with the tier 3 stuff, I'm much more expecting. Ooh, okay. Well, we're seeing the pylon go down. I don't love the positioning on it. It's going to be hard to have any kind of really secure wall unless he's got something really crazy planned out. Usually you just see the normal default, like the vertical wall. There's a pylon, there's a forge, there's a gateway. So this wall, I mean, it's going to give him pylon power. He's going to be able to get something done here. But it's going to be a lot harder to actually plug up holes. And if there's going to be that threat, if Lings want to run in and really get something done. And we're seeing from Beanie Beans, classic standard stuff. Just nice overpool. You're going to be safe. We're going to be able to get things going. And the area is going to scout that cross spawn without too much delay. We're seeing a forge go down. And you can see what I mean. Look how much space there's in this wall. It's going to be so easy to run by with speed lengths. It's going to be hard to set up a good wall where you have a lot of cannons being powered, where it's going to be good against Hydras. I think in general this wall is going to be very hard to defend. And even with the forge on the top, normally you have gateway above the forge. That makes like a tight wall that there's not another point of weakness. But Ares going to have to deal with that. Probably going to have to do more in cannons than they like to. So I'll be curious to see where we go from there. That spawn pool nearing completion. The probe not trying to harass down the hatchery at all. So Beanie Bean's going to be able to get that down without any kind of stop at all. The probe does get in the base just in time to see that the pool is done. How many lanes are getting made? Only a little tiny bit, which, I mean, that's definitely good for Ares, because if there's a lot of lanes going on, this would be very hard to defend. And you're seeing a good reaction to what is being seen here, that it's overpool. He didn't see a bunch of lanes on the way. Just getting Nexus down, no can, so being a little extra greedy, especially on crossmon, is definitely going to buy the time they need. And they're going to start putting cannons down now, so good reading of the situation from SC2 Ares. But again, that wall still just giving me anxiety, still very risky. And we're seeing a probe being stayed at what would be the common third base. So just wants to see if there is that hatchery going down. I really want to see him go back in, see the gas timing, see if it's going to be lair play, is it going to be Hydra play, if he could find the third hatch, if there is one. So hopefully brings that probe back in later to try to check things out. And we're seeing Lings move across the map. Actually, drones too. So I'm going to have that third hatchery maybe off way in the corner. Often space is going to be hard to find. I see two Ares getting the gateway down. And again, like, this is just not the kind of wall you want, because there's a gap right here. This is going to be annoying to deal with. And now you look at what's below, it's not going to be easy to plug that up either. So as far as the wall goes, it's not really what you're looking for. But if we're not seeing the pressure from Beanie Beans, you might be able to get away with it. Or just have to invest in extra cannon, block up the ramp, any of these kind of things. But definitely some problems with this wall that could be abused if the Zerg was being more aggressive or scouted in time to make the read on the situation. Extractor's finished, but no drones mining gas here, so really I think they're trying to power up and just get some more money in. So hopefully we're seeing some gas through, and the Lings get in here. One is taken down before it gets in the main, but sees the Nexus completed. The second cannon going down, realizing that SC2 Ares does need to defend this a little bit harder. And now that gas is on the way, you can see where that first gas expenditure is. Is it going to be for something like link speed? Is it going to be some kind of lair tech? Or is it just going to be Hydras to get things moving forward? And we're not seeing anything just yet, but both players just getting some workers up, trying to get their economies going. We're seeing the first tech choice, though, for SC2 Ares. That Stargate, super normal. Wants to get the Corsairs on the map, be protected against mutas, and get that scouting info. That's the big thing you're looking for. Beanie Beans being a little more careful than they need to be, building this sunken. I don't think there's anything that really provoked that it's like you need a sunken here, especially since we're seeing a lot of gas being banked up. Finally, something gets spent on, and it's gonna be this lair tech. And we're seeing air weapons, so I think we're gonna see actually much more leaned into the Corsairs, try to be that air dominance. So we'll see if the lair that definitely was later than it needed to be, if he's going to be able to get the Air Force to fight against this, because all you need is like kill that first Corsair, get a couple good Scourgets, so you could definitely be in a good spot. SC2 Ares doing a good job with their pro production so far, not starting ground weapons at all. You see, I'm going to keep harping on this wall because look how much space there's. Just two Zealots here. That's not even attempting to plug the wall, ignoring the gap that's right there. Now, we're seeing more upgrades on the way, so SC2 Ares is going to be leaning into just some of that Zealot pressure. This is getting some Corsairs on the map, trying to just get that normal kind of armies stuff that you're used to seeing against this stuff. More hatcheries going down for Beanie Beans, and Hydra Den getting completed here. Now, this is going to be incomplete just in time for the lair, so this could be a rush towards the lurkers, or it could be that kind of playing into the spire and like that. So we're going to have to look to see where Beanie Bean wants to go. Has plenty of gas banked up from the delay, but didn't take a second gas geyser just yet. So they're going to be able to have some more minerals, get drones up instead. But it's a little bit worrying here. There's not any kind of scouting info here. There's a couple links on these bridges to see the move out. And that first Corsair is on the map. It's not looking for scouting info. It's looking for overlords to kill and just try to get an immediate advantage instead. Now we're seeing very defensive play from Beanie Beans. Already getting that Spore Colony back in his main. So that way, if he has to worry about Corsairs, you can see two of them walking around here. No kills on anything just yet. The only thing spotting around the map are Lings instead of Overlords. So no free kills. Delays the scouting that he could have got if you just rushed forward and did it. But Saetzero is still building up a pretty intimidating army. Would love to see more gateways starting to get added on here because you can see they're having trouble starting to spend that money now. But they're getting plenty of the upgrades. The Citadel's done, but the speed for the Zealots hasn't been started yet. So I think things are getting a little bit delayed. And you can see more gateways getting added on. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Robo on the way as well. Robo 4 Templar archives actually. So that's maybe a little bit of extra concern about lurkers. Doesn't really know what's going on. He would have a much better idea if he was being more active with these Corsairs, but not overstepping. Doesn't want to lose them to anything silly. So I respect the conservative nature we're seeing here, but I don't think that's really what you want to be doing here. And we're seeing Spire on the way now. It's going to be Spire before any kind of lurker stuff, so just things getting a little bit out of order as far as what to get. But we're seeing both players doing the kind of approximate thing you're used to seeing. It's still Corsairs, it's still going to be grounding, there's plenty of press upgrades. Eventually you're going to be getting into Templar tech and all these things, but just things, respecting threats that aren't quite there just yet. And I think some of this could be optimized a little bit better. Ares did take this third base though, very aggressive expanding from Ares here. You can see even trying to build some pylons, build some cannons, defense up a little bit. And because of these links being backed by the bridge, nothing saw them move down there. So going to be difficult for Beanie Beans to see this and punish it. Of course, they're managing to find one of these overlords out in the middle of the field, and there's no speed upgrade even remotely started. Plenty of Hydras here though. Gotta be careful not to lose the Corsairs. They take some shield damage, but doesn't even take anything from the hull. Spire finishing up now, and Lurker aspect on the way as well. So that fast Robo going to be very useful here. And you see, it's actually for a shuttle. We are still seeing observatory made, so going to be able to have observers in time for anything. But it's still just building up the normal force you're used to seeing from the Protoss, but still no Templar Archives, so going to be no splash damage. So I'm curious to see if it's going to be some kind of move out, like where the pressure is going to be put, or is it just going to be staying back at home? Because look at all these cannons. SC2 is just really gearing up to be defensive here, and with this many workers, if they could take this base without any kind of pressure from the Zerg, they're not trying to take a fourth at all. That's all you really need to be doing here. And I think that it's going to work out just fine. The Corsair fleet moving back out to the map more. Going to try to get some knowledge about what's going on. Try to find more opportunities. Lurker aspect's done. That Spire's completed, but we're not seeing any Spire units just yet. And now, finally, we're seeing a little bit more pressure from Ares moving out. Kills those Lings, either to force a reaction or anything. Beanie Bean's going to get a fourth base up in the top left corner. And we're seeing, just poking around, lots of Corsairs on the map. A lot of these Zealots here too, and they're pretty upgraded. They're feeling good. They got the +1, they got the speed. So nothing too bad here. SimCity's reasonable. The building's definitely going to block off things and make it a little bit more annoying to deal with. You see more creep colonies going down. Beanie Beans doesn't want to lose to this pressure. And since they only have the 2 Lings here, they know there's a move out, but they're not really be able to keep track of it. But Lurkers are done. You see Lurkers being made to defend some of these bases. And there's no Overlord with this army, or Observer with this army. It's just these Corsairs and Zealots. So easily could overstep and get themselves in trouble. And still buying time for this 4th base from the Zerg to go up. And you can see Ares trying to poke around, trying to find some of these bases. Doesn't see anything at a close location. And is moving towards that top left. If he finds this might be a good opportunity. But there's still a couple Lurkers made. It's going to be hard to break through without detection. Going to have to wait for those Observers, which they're 2 on the map, but they're not with the army, unfortunately. And we're seeing Corsairs going to come through. They're going to confirm this hatchery is there and completed. They're not going to go down to the south, so Ares still not really super knowledgeable about what's going down up here, but you see the Zealots moving over. They're going to try to attack through, but you got to be careful. The buildings are a bit in the way. They're sunken, but look, more lurkers added on. And Ares just committing to it, taking so much damage from everything. Takes a lot of damage before managing to pull back, but doesn't suicide everything. So that attack didn't really work out quite as well. Zealots moving down at the 6 o'clock. Gonna get some space. Let the Pros take a 4th base down here as well. And Ares has a lot of money, but having trouble spending it. Needs to add on more gateways, need to add on more tech buildings to really have some kind of an option. But they're doing a good job trying to expand on the map, keeps that work production up. So there's all the kind of stuff I love seeing from Tier 3 play, that they got the fundamentals of what they're doing. It just needs some refinement, stuff they can work on. This is going to be a little bit hard here. Not a lot of defense that we're seeing. A decent amount of lurkers being made in morph, so if there's going to be an attack in here, it's going to be hard to break through the natural. Over at the top left, a lot of lurkers here, but if you had some kind of detection, that would definitely be different. And you see Beanie Beans moving around with the lane, trying to get some scouting info. I think they're looking for Pros expansions, but they should know that they're down in the bottom side by the mineral only, and the attempt to take it at the 6 o'clock as well. And this Corsair fleet just keeps moving around, keeps looking for something. A lot of gateways getting added on now, so that's definitely going to help Ares spend the money they're trying to spend here. And we're looking like we're seeing a big attack going in here. Corsair's going to find a bunch of overlords, but look how many lurkers are behind this. These elves still haven't even get through the Hydra wall, but they're taking so much free damage here. The ground force getting cleaned up, but these Corsairs doing big damage to the overlord. Look at that supply cap, but they overstay, and actually a lot of them go down to the Hydras. And this attack from Ares really is not going well. He's suiciding stuff into lurkers, into these sunken colonies and hydras. Everything getting cleaned up pretty good. Ares had a giant supply lead going into that fight. It looked okay when they got all those overlords with the Corsairs, but threw away basically the entire army. He's got plenty of money to respend and remax, but that is definitely a big win for Beanie Beans to defend that so easily, just because there was no detection, there was no splash damage or anything. Just trying to walk Zealots into something like that, that's a recipe for disaster every day of the week. We're seeing queuing up the Corsairs, needs to rebuild that. Understanding the threat that there is still that spire there, even though we haven't seen anything made from it, still respecting the threat, still wants to make sure that you can't get blindsided with a bunch of mutas, wants to keep building those up and trying to put pressure on the map. But, I mean, he's got the gateways he needs, he can start building up an army. You can already see that supply shooting right back up after that attack didn't go so well. Now, I want to see Beanie Beans really try to, he's got to get more drones on the map. He's got to try to get more economic presence, because Ares just lost a whole bunch of things. This is your window that you're not going to get attacked anytime soon, because, I mean, just so much damage already happened. And Ares still building up what they're looking for. Now they're up to 4 base versus 4 base, about double the workers. So Pro's feeling very comfortable in this spot here. If they can get any presence on the map and make sure Zerg doesn't take another base, it's going to be very hard for Beanie Beans to get back in this. I'm actually a little bit surprised from what we're seeing back at home. It's not harder droning, but there's not even like a rush to more tech or anything. He's like working on some of the things you're used to seeing, getting some overlord speed on the way. But it's like there's no Queen's Nest. It's not rushing towards Hive. It's not really upgrading the ground army or anything. I've seen a couple Scourge move across the map, finally using that, flying right into the cannons, all these 6. It's going to confirm the 6 is there, but all the Scourge going down for absolutely nothing. A little bit of a win from Ares there. Zerg can't be affording to throw away a bunch of gas like that. And we're seeing Zealots move across. They have an observer with them now, so they're going to be a little safer here and just trying to poke around, see if they can find something. And look at this, a shuttle, 3 High Templars in it, so this is going to be a good opportunity. And that did arrive after the Ling got killed, so there shouldn't be any kind of heads up about it. I'm curious if we see some kind of movement, but really it's just this one spore in the main is going to be the defense. And you keep seeing, we're seeing movement from Ares, looking around, trying to find things. There's just Lings like protecting where some of these expansions would be. No expansions to actually kill. Now, don't want to see Ares overcommit again, but he's attacking forward. He has detection this time, but that observer, already dangerously low, gets picked off immediately. And we're going to see the exact same situation we saw before. Lots of lurkers here. These Zealots taking a ton of damage they don't really want to be taking. And Ares, again, committing to an attack, but look at the money he has. Even though that attack didn't go well, tons of money banked up, still giant supply lead. So Ares looking like they're in a very comfortable spot in comparison to their opponent. But, I mean, at some point, like, you're going to get punished for taking these sloppy attacks where you just walk into lurker fields, you don't have splash damage, you don't have any detection. And we're seeing here that shuttle moved forward, not trying to poke into any of the bases, not trying to do any harassment damage. But this is the splash damage I'm talking about. We're seeing a move out from Beanie Beans, and that shuttle's up at the front. Some Templar getting unloaded. They have plenty of storm energy. Big storms there, magic boxing to help it out, covering a lot of space, but burns through all storms almost immediately. Some of these zealots not involved in the fight, and actually Beanie Beans taking a big fight here, even though so many storms were invested. Like, it just wasn't enough, and Beanie Beans managing to, like, take something here, take a little bit of the pressure back. Some Hydras up here at the front are trying to slow down the reinforcements, but look at this wave of zealots. There's so much money from SC2 areas. Little wins here and there are not going to catch Zerg up in this game. There's still no attempt to take that 5th base. Even like down here, see something on the minimap, it's still Lane just kind of scouting things out. Lots of Corsairs getting killed by Scourge, and more Zealots moving into this base. Ares got to stop attacking into this really fortified, and even losing a Templar into it. But there's still so many lurkers, there's so much stack defense. Like these like repeated attacks going. This is not what you're looking for. If you want to break through this, you gotta get more storms. You gotta play slower, and really you gotta start working on dragoons instead of zealots, so you can kind of chip away at things, not just walk into a giant minefield where everything's getting killed. I mean, it's buying. He keeps attacking. He keeps losing a bunch of these units. He has so much money back at home, so it's not like things are going terribly for him. But realistically, this is not the path you would need to improve as a player. That you got to realize situations like this are going badly. There's some zealots here that are going to stop this drone from taking another base, and we're seeing SC2 Ares keeps moving around. Lots of Templars here. There's a good opportunity to get a decent storm off and do some big damage. Lots of storms stacked up, unfortunately, to waste. They don't do double damage if they're stacked like that. So, but just making sure you're getting some damage done, doing a good job propelling some of these Hydras. Big investment for all the energy here. But, I mean, at least it's not an attack inside Lurker Field. Nothing is doing with that, at least. The drone doesn't get killed off by these Zealots. It sees what's up and moves right away. The Hydra's going to go try to clear it up. Give Zerg a chance to take 5th base on the map and try to get that economics up a little bit more. We're still not seeing any progression up the tech tree, though. No Queen's Nest, no Hive being started. So, it's really just going to be leaning into these Hydras, trying to use them as the core in to get you through. And the upgrades are, I mean, 1-1's here, but like +2/+2 is not even started yet from the Zerg player here. Just trying to build some stuff up. Of course, these Hydras still doing a lot of decent damage, and we're seeing little move outs here. There is a shuttle here, shuttle speed nearing completion, but not done yet, and another weapons upgrade on the way. The shuttle's got to be careful. It's dropping Zealots, just trying to pull the opponent out of position, try to get some damage done. And they're going to be able to put some pressure on the Spore Colony, but the Zerg's focused on the 12. They'd rather take that expansion. They don't care about what's happening in the base. And since it's not going for drones, not going for anything, it kills that Spore. This could be a giant opportunity to get some damage done, but there is still one Lurker in there helping defend. You're seeing Corsairs move in. These Zealots get a little bit done here, but really, realistically, it's not that much. And you're seeing the Hydras up at the top. It should be a close fight between the two, but the Pros upgrade is very good. Already at +3, doing a good job keeping those rolling. So these Dragoons barely going to lose to this this Hydra force that's slowly chipping away at them. Dragoons just not very good at this. I'm seeing a little bit of reinforcement here, but more defense from Beanie Beans. Really focused on that 12, trying to get something done. Ares still moving around the rest of the map, though, going for the locations he would think the Zerg's going to try to take, like this 3 o'clock, but never yields to anything particularly. Oh man, this High Templar is going to kill it off just before it has Storm. Not what you want to see here. The only thing really on the map right now is a handful of units. Most of them are just Corsairs. Ares building a big ground army, going to be able to move out again. As long as there's a decent amount of Dragoons and we're seeing some detection, this could be the move forward. There's been no attempt to break this top left at all. Really focused on whatever they're looking at here. Ares trying to pursue this top left, the 12 o'clock base again. Trying to fight these. The Hydra's getting a little bit of the army out of position, but still plenty of reinforcements from the Protoss, and they got good upgrades. You get down the ramp, they're going to start pressuring this hatchery. If they can kill that, it'd be good. These Hydras not committed to the fight, but now that there's Zealots here and there's a decent amount of Dragoons behind it, it should be enough. And we're seeing just some of the ground units, but no moving the Lurkers, no trying to really get the splash damage done. Ares breaks through the defense, going to be able to take out this base and put Zerg right back down to 4 as they're taking the 5th of their own down at this mineral only for the bottom right. cheeky little lurker burrow there. Love seeing that kind of stuff, but man, just it's a drop in the bucket. Both players have so much money built up, and it's not like they're not spending it, but like really, this could be from the process. Could be more production. This could be investing in better, better, more quality units. I'm not seeing anything like that. It's just a constant battle over this 12 o'clock. Now, Beanie Beans, if they had more hatcheries, they had more larvas, this is definitely an amount of money you could play with a Zerg, really get something done, but they're just kind of still building some Hydras here and there. They're not really adding more onto the lurker force. They got some lurkers around for defense, but not adding it as part of their fighting force. Although finally the hive's getting started, Queen's Nest is complete, and it's going to allow it to move towards some of this tech that might be useful. But S2 Ares still has a pretty intimidating army and a big supply lead. It's just about finding that attack, having the detection, be able to actually break through one of these defenses and open this game wide up. This top left still looking like it's going to be the choice that I would go for here. As you can see, there's lurkers, but not a lot of lurkers. So some of them getting moved out of position. And it's not like the SimC is out of control, hard to break through. S2 Ares, though, really just focusing on this 12 o'clock. Wants to keep Beanie Beans on 4 base. Figuring if I can choke them out, and that's all I really need to do. You can see plenty of Corsairs. A little bit of a move out here. Even the shuttle still haven't anything in it. But the attacks from SA2 Air is going well, especially out the 12. And lots of reinforcements of Hydras keep trying to fight their way through. Half the army, though, for Protoss not involved in this fight. So we're seeing Beanie Beans actually kind of push this back, starting to do more damage. It's still going to be a while, though, before these upgrades are on the way. Still +1/+1. Could be quite a while before +2/+2. And the Protoss is on 3-1 now, so as they get these armor upgrades moving on, it's going to really help against this like very centric around Hydra's army that we're seeing. And it's just constant fighting over this top part of the base. S2 Ares, though, moves over, sees the top left base at the natural. This could be the trigger where it's like, oh yeah, this is here. Maybe I should be attacking this instead. Instead of they're fighting for just control of the 12 o'clock, even though there's not even a hatchery started here, it's just units being rallied and kind of fighting aimlessly without anything to do. I'd love to see back at home for Ares, more gateways being added, more production. We're getting upgrades for the Reavers that will be useful later in these kind of big defense. We're not seeing an attempt from anything to like take this bottom right area, 4 areas or anything like that. It's just constant fighting back and forth between the two players up here. Right now, it's not even at a base, though. Like, it's not what you're looking to do. Now, back at home, Hive is done, but where's the Hive tech? I don't see any kind of defiler den. I'm not seeing anything like that. So, you got the Hive, and it's got to be up for some upgrades at some point. Now, +2/+2 is going to finish soon. That could be useful there. And we got the spawning pool, but I don't think I've actually seen any kind of investment in link speed or the link attack speed upgrade, the adrenaline upgrades. So it's going to be hard to see where we're going, but lots of links getting added on. It's going to be good against some of these Dragoon forces. And there it is, finally that link attack speed upgrade. But still, Beanie Beans, the army's doing pretty good here. It's still trying to move out just before +2/+2. And Ares gets the units up here to help reinforce. You can see this is now pretty intimidating. Look, you got units that are already there. You got units rolling through, and back here it's like there's a sunken. There's 3 lurkers. There should be observers. Where are the observers? Where's the detection? I know he had observers like this whole match, but nothing is involved here. These zealots taking a lot of free damage, but this is what I was talking about. At least use Dragoons. Stay out of the range of everything. Definitely doing a good job here. Lots of lanes getting floated in. All the zealots are gone. But now the Dragoons gotta be careful. If they pull back to that bridge, that's at least a better opportunity to try to fight through. Reinforcements going down from both players. This might be an opportunity to get something done. But you see Beanie Beans looking like they're finally gonna be able to repel this. It's mostly Dragoons, so it seems pretty reasonable. I've seen some Overlords just get pushed away over here, but it's not getting anything done. The Corsairs still trying to fight around, but it's not like just DTs trying to just keep more damage on, but he's losing a bunch of these things to Hydras again. We're seeing just giant battle over this bridge. This would be the opportunity for Beanie Beans to maybe take another base. There's not very much up at the 12. There's not much by the mineral only. It's just this all this pressure from the Protoss up at the top left. And look at the Protoss down here in the bottom right, taking more bases, setting up more cannons. It's going to get more space for more production buildings too. So Ares really taking over the map. Beanie Beans feels uncomfortable actually going past 4 bases here. And that's going to be a problem, because even though the worker count for Beanie Beans has been a lot less, like the drones, you can mine a lot more efficiently, it's still that Ares has so much money, keeps throwing an army at things, and eventually some of these bases are going to dry up from the Zerg player. Hydra's trying to go to 3 o'clock, see what's there. There's a couple years that it should be able to break through and clear that out if that's going to be attempted expansion. Actually, I'm not even sure if they're going to be able to do it. This one Dragoon, very healthy. I think even at 3 o'clock base, that little attack's not going to be enough. We're just seeing lots of lanes on the way. That Adrenaline upgrade is completed, so it's definitely going to help them attack things faster, but it's not like there's been really a big investment in some of these ground upgrades. +2, +1. Like, that's all we're really seeing from the Zerg here. I actually thought they were working on a +2 armor upgrade, but I guess they got canceled or I missaw it or something. Thought there was something here. Lots of links just floating out of this top left base. It should be enough to finally repel these Dragoons without any of their support. The SC2 Ares, like, remember that they had the giant bank. Look, where is it? It's all units being queued up. It makes you think like you're spending your money, but actually it's just like tricking you. You needed more production. You need more gateways to actually spend that like appropriately. But still, lots of bases taken. With everything up at the top left getting cleared out, Beanie Beans gets to finally bleed out on the map again, has plenty of links, but still needs to be careful not to overstep because it's still, units are getting built from SC2 areas. There's still a point where it's going to be hard to attack into it. It's not like it's all Dragoons. There is still plenty of Zealots here. The upgrades are still good, especially the Protoss attack versus the armor. So it's not like links are super effective here as long as there's Zealots to help. And he's going to find all these links that moved over. They're down to 9 o'clock. And there's going to be another fight breaking out here. Plenty of Zealots frontlining for these Dragoons. It's still not the unit mix you want against something like this, but I think at this point it's going to be just enough. Protoss has plenty of army to fight this through. Beanie Beans losing a bunch of lanes again. They're kind of running on fumes here. You can see that Beanie Beans, like that main, running out of minerals. The natural running out of minerals. So they have to get another base started up soon. S2 areas trying to put more pressure on. We're seeing more Hydras up at this top left. And it's just units up here at the 12. No base being started. We need to see a hatchery getting started from Beanie Beans. Some kind of attempt to take another base and establish more money here because SC2 areas just bled out all over the map. And it will be enough to actually get through this. But we're just seeing little fights here and there, and they just keep going SC2 areas' way. Only time the fights really don't go for the Protoss is when they overcommit and charge into a lurker field that's going to get them all killed. But when it's just little squads like this, just trying to fight links in the middle of the map, he's doing a good job not losing anything. Still plenty of money to mine from these lower right bases. Even that middle only got cleared out, so there's definitely pros that need to be moved there. I mean, it's a 6 o'clock, should be nearing mining out reasonably soon as well, but SC2 areas consolidating forces is going to keep putting pressure on that top left base and try to break through. Finally, there is an observer here, so they can finally fight these lurkers, but the observer immediately dies as it flies into the base. So no more detection, and you see lanes and things are going through. The second observer comes here, finally going to be able to kill off some of these lurkers that have been doing so much work here. Such big value just from not having the observers, not having the detection. And SC2 area still has plenty of army, and we're seeing workers getting evacuated. Broke through one of the later bases that was taken, so that's definitely what you want to be seeing here. Big fight still happening, so you're just trying to be reinforced, but a little move at across. SC2 area is going to attack the main as well. See if any of the defense stayed there, and if you look here, there's still plenty of lurkers, so going to need some of the detection, but he's still breaking through the top left, going to be able to get in there and get some damage done. Beanie Beans can't afford to be losing workers, can't be afford to be losing these bases that are actually still worth money. His attack going forward at the natural, though. Lurkers still doing big work, no observers, but still going to be able to break through a little bit. But this is not really the point that we need to be looking at. It's that top left. S2 areas, plenty of Corsairs here, plenty of ground forces. And you see, this is where all the hatcheries are. This is where all the production is, and a good amount of the drones as well. If you can get the kills on those, the Hydra's being made, but the Beanie Beans doesn't have a bank, so it's going to make it hard to actually fight through this and see what they can get done. The Dragoons just firing back at home, and we're seeing a giant move out again from S2 areas. The drones trying to escape, trying to get to an exodus, but these Dragoons doing a great job making sure they don't escape. They're getting killed. And you see, there's just no units up here. Hydra's going to be morphed as you can see the larva, but look at this big move out over at that natural again. S2 areas really trying to put the pressure on. He already broke through the top left. He's going to be able to control some of that. And he's going here. He's going to kill some more Hydras. These lurkers doing some big damage, and the Zealots are just hanging out in the lurker field, all of them getting killed again. It's the only time SC2 areas loses fights, just fighting in a lurker field and taking damage he shouldn't be. But still, has done enough. Beanie Bean's going to tap out of game one. And I think BNBs has to have a better plan of attack because the way we saw the play from the Protoss player, just it seemed like they were outclassing their opponent, which does happen a decent amount in the tier 3 because it has that there's no like a minimum range. So we gotta see more of a plan from Beanie Beans. Try to get something going that's gonna work out a little bit better here. But Neo Sylphid, different kind of map. And you saw how much damage was being done by those lurkers. So there's definitely, I would just like, if I was thinking, I'd be like, I'm rushing lurkers, no spire, screw that. Just lean into the Hydra lurker, play that style instead. Definitely an opportunity for the Zerg if they want to try that. At the 12 o'clock, Beanie Beans still in yellow. This is gonna be the game 2. Try to survive through and get into a better spot in the mid game. And in the white, in the bottom right, it's S2 Ares. Still playing Protoss. Looking really good and comfortable in game 1, but some sloppy engagements. There's definitely an opportunity for Beanie Beans to get something going here and keep moving forward. Oh man, I forgot, like, when you are casting by yourself that you like there's so much to talk about and you can't like pass it off where it's like, hey, I need a drink of water, hey, I need to like chill. So it just like it's like my throat is angry at me for doing this. So I mean, fortunately it's not like some crazy long cast. It's only 4 different matches going through. It's going to be a fun time tonight regardless. We're seeing a pylon go up here. Sylphid's notoriously hard to wall, so I'm not going to harp on the walls from Ares as much this time. That wall we saw on the first game definitely could have gotten abused, but Beanie Beans wasn't aggressive enough to really kind of lean into that and stop anything there. Now, Overlord's made, but we're not seeing a rush to that pool. Is this actually going to be like a hatchery first? More drones getting made. I think Beanie Beans actually go for hatch first on Sylphid instead. Which, I mean, that seems reasonable. Like, be a little greedier, get the larvae you need, get the money you need, and that can help you go into some kind of speedling all in if you want to do something like that. If you're planning to cut some corners here and there, that's definitely a way to go. We're seeing a gateway expand instead from SC2 Ares, different style. Not sure how much I love this. We'll see how it gets maneuvered, but one of the problems is that the gateway positioning is not fantastic here. Usually it's you want the gateways above or to the right of the forge. So you're looking for the forges below or to the left. So when he's building it over here all the way against his pylon like this, it's not like really closing enough gaps. So again, SC2 Ares needs to invest some time, work on the walls a little bit. And we're seeing there's a hatchery, there's a pool on the way. And I'm curious if it is going to be some kind of spieling all-in. When you know a map's hard to wall, it's definitely a good choice to think about doing that. Definitely could be an opportunity. And we're not seeing any kind of expand here at all, actually. It's going to be a rush for a Cyber Core, which I don't know what we're seeing from S2 Ares, but I don't like it personally. It's at, like, all this is at the front. This is going to be instantly scoutable, and it's still going to be hard to actually go through. You can see, like, he's trying to work on this lurker egg with the probe, so he's, like, really planning for something in here, but this is still committed to being one base Protoss. Is not the kind of thing you're looking for, which the only thing I think is like it's some kind of weird tech play trying to do something crazy, but it's easy to scout. Your opponent can react to it, and then it's like you still have to be able to execute whatever you're doing here, which we saw like the way some of the fights are going. S2's in-fight execution might not be the strength to lean on as they're working through these CPL games and trying to improve. Beanie Beans taking that third base over here, so Zerg getting set up well. They're gonna have 3 bases. They're all gas bases as well, so and it's not this the blind cursed expansion for Zerg right here. It's not taking the upper rights, the mineral only either. So definitely some high value stuff we're seeing, and we're seeing a rush to Dragoon range. What I'm thinking this might be then is maybe a Dragoon all in, where you just go like a couple gateways worth of Dragoons, you hit range, and you hit before there's anything. And as I say that, there's a nexus, so we're getting very delayed. I'm not sure what this strategy is. A Link does get in the main though, sees the Cyber Core, sees that it's spinning. He could have gotten in and confirmed that there's no real tech here. We're even seeing like lack of gas being mined from us 2 areas. I don't know if that was intentional to get that nexus up or anything like that, or if he just didn't put the guys in the gas, which that could really come back to haunt him later on if that's the case. It's a very different build from the Protoss, not anything standard, nothing you're used to seeing here. And we're seeing more gateways going down the main. We're going to see where this goes from here. Hatchery is being made as well. And with gas finally starting to be mined, there might be an opportunity for Beanie Beans if they want to go to that lair or anything. But even with something like this, just getting a link speed and having a decent fighting force on the ground might be worth it. But we're seeing a bunch of gateways going down. Definitely going to be some kind of swell of gateway units early on. I still think it has a chance of being these like this kind of early Dragoon play or something like that. But still, this Nexus, I mean, it's banking for some kind of play later on. But there's definitely opportunity where SC2 should have gotten punished for doing something like this. So, I mean, hey, if you do it and it works, that's fine, I think. But it's still a little bit wild to me. We'll see how it actually plays out. Beanie Beans not trying to scout out, not trying to see what's going on or see if there's any points of weakness. Actually just moving another drone on a map, so might be trying to sneak another base over in the bottom left corner. Get to that 4 bases with all of them having gas and being in a comfortable spot. Lair being started here, and we're going to see a lot of Dragoons being made now from SC2 Ares. So we got Goons on the way. The range is done now. And he's got a Nexus, but he's not like making workers. He's not trying to mine from it or anything. I don't know if this is just all an elaborate ruse, this Nexus here, because you can see like there's no probes in production. But Lair's on the way, and Hydroden's on the way to match it too. So there could be a rush to getting some of this like tech that you're looking for. Even with the Hydroden over on the side, it'll be harder to scout. Even though you assume it's there, it won't actually be seen and confirmed. Creep colonies being made, so there's gonna be a lot of defense up at this base that we saw the Zerg take as a third. He's got this drone, he's got this laying over in position. So things are out on the map. He won't have to try to fight his way out later if he's just trying to sneak stuff, and you gotta keep an eye on things. But S2 Ares just building Dragoons, lots of Dragoons, really just cranking up on the army here, but cutting a lot of corners to do it. There's no forge, there's no attack upgrades. There's this Nexus that was very delayed, so the economy is weaker. You can see it that Beanie Beans actually has more drones. We're seeing a little bit of that move out now, and there's going to be one drone here that might be able to scout this out. That would give a little bit of time for reaction from Beanie Beans, which right now is building some sunken, so definitely going to be a little bit harder to break. But I mean, Dragoons are here, they have the range completed. It could be an opportunity. We're just seeing more goons being made from S2 Ares, looking like they're really going to try to break through and push things. If they get this Overlord though and supply cap the Zerg, that's actually a big deal here. You can see a couple links trying to move out. It's just these Dragoons. The Zealots moving into the range of the Sunk. It's going to take a bunch of free damage. Now the Zealots are done, but it's still a lot of Dragoons here, and there's no link speed, there's no big upgrades or anything. And they should be able to start sieging down things. They're going actually for the Sunk. It's not taking the free stuff in front. S2 Ares taking a lot of free damage, but still rallying units forward. No workers being made. Beanie Beans actually trying to get some drones and try to be a little bit sneaky. S2 Ares moving off to the side, going to get more reinforcements, maybe regroup before trying to attack again. And Citadel Vadun on the way too, so this could really lean to that gateway style if you're trying to get Zealot legs or rush towards Templar or anything like that. Could definitely help. But I mean, we're seeing like plans that are more tuned for the future. Like we got the Citadel Vadun, there's going to be more upgrades. We're seeing a forge being made. That could be for upgrades as well, or just for the opportunity for cans. But S2 Ares committed so hard to get these ground your army. And Beanie Beans did build a lot of drones here. Not a lot of fighting force. Manages to get one of the Sunkets that are up at the front. They can move forward and get these Sunkets killed before they really get involved in the fight. There's nothing else really back here to defend it. You see more creep colonies trying to go down. They're not going to survive long enough. Beanie Beans actually needs some real units here to help defend this, and unfortunately there's just not enough here. These creep colonies going to get canceled out. Some links getting popped here, but there's still a lot of Dragoons with a lot of units being rallied, a lot of Zealots on the way. And we're seeing like that there's a lot of pressure for Beanie Beans. Gonna have to survive. All the stack defense is done, taking some drone losses as well. And we're seeing some units being made, but you don't want to be sending units over from that side base right now. You gotta make sure you have the production here. The hatchery is gonna barely finish, but the larva won't be built up yet. S2 Ares like just really pushing forward here. There's just not enough units from Beanie Beans to help defend this. Aspire's on the way, but it's still a lot of Dragoons. Even Mutas might not be the call to actually help you out here. There's plenty of money banked up. Beanie Beans might try for something like that. But S2 Ares still doing big damage. He's managing to get a lot of Overlord kills, which is going to supply block Beanie Beans for a significant amount of time. This is really going to open the door to like really keep putting the pressure on. And you can see Zealot's getting reinforced here. That's going to be enough to help, and everything's moving into the main now. Lanes are going to pop. They're going to try to fight some of these Zealots. Neither side has any kind of upgrades, just playing with the raw units, which does favor these Zerglings, but still a lack of production. We got a lot of money, but there's no way to produce. You got to make these Overlords first. And you can see just being started up here, so it's going to be quite a while away. S2 has found an opportunity where you can get some damage done. Manages to take another Nexus off on the side. We're seeing a big counterattack from Beanie Beans, but you need to defend right now to survive. You can't be trying to counterattack right here. The idea is cute, but you need to actually make the units that survive here. These Dragoons managing to pick up all those Overlords really helped that fight out a lot. And we're seeing the Lynx trying to get through, trying to find the damage. There's plenty of Zealots here, and they have speed now, so they're going to be able to clean this up without too much issue. Some probes are going to go down, but I don't think S2 Ares cares enough about that. More pressure going in through, and Beanie Bean's going to tap out that. SC2 Ares taking it 2-0, but weird games and, you know, stuff to work on for sure with the coaches in those games. But, hey, I mean, hey, when you attack and it works, you don't have to feel anything bad for anyone about anything. Like, it worked, good enough. Well, I mean, that was interesting to see. Tier 3 is always a little bit wild, people doing some crazy stuff, trying their best, but there's still a lot of opportunities to fumble things and not look as good as you can. That just means there's a lot to improve on with your coaches, which if you're in CPL, you should be working with your coaches a lot. They're just here to help you. They're all about making sure you improve as a player. As long as you're putting the work in, they'd be glad to help you out and keep moving things forward. So they're definitely going to have a good time. And speaking of a good time, in the top left, it's Quantum Leap. He's playing that green Zerg, that like military green. And in the top right, it's Rhynadon. So another PvZ. Different players this time, but I'm expecting to see different stuff. Like I don't think we're going to see that Dragoon build, but I mean, I know I've seen that in the Wikipedia as like a all-in. That's like, oh, well, maybe, but I don't know if that was the execution you were looking for. There's definitely just players get a little wild, freestyle, do what they're going to do, and just try to work on some of their core mechanics. So we'll see what these players have for us instead here. We're seeing that probe move down, going to wall off here. We're going to see what we're going to get from here. I'm expecting Forge Expand. It's way easier to learn. It's way easier to not like fumble things. If you're doing Gateway, you can lose the Zealots. You can get Supply Blockers. There's a lot of ways to like die really quickly if you're trying to do Gateway. So I'm expecting Forge. And the pylon in the more proper spot here, down at the bottom. That's what you're really looking to do. Some kind of pylon, you get a forge, you get a gateway after that. That's the way you want to be doing this if you're just learning how to wall. That's usually a typical way that helps out a lot. Quantum Leap, just going for overpull, nothing unusual, super standard opening. And the probe moving now, it went the wrong direction. It's not going to get that early scout, but should still get there in time to confirm at least a little bit of what's going on. And is that Forge Expand from a Rhynadon. So that's going to be helpful. You know, they got to get that scout in the base so they know how greedy they can be here. One of the big reasons that you do the Forge Expand is if you can get in there, you can see the pool time, you can see how many lanes are made. It's like you don't want to be building cans before next if you don't have to. You don't want to be building more cans than you have to either. So you got to get that scout in there. You got to see what's going on. Try to go from there. This gas extractor definitely quick that we're seeing from Quantum Leap, and I'm not seeing hatcheries on the way or any kind of expansions. This is definitely an interesting build. We're going to see something a little unusual here, and this could be an opportunity to rush really hard for some kind of lair tech, or this could just be the fastest like way to get lane speed and put the pressure on. And you can see Rhynadon didn't scout, being extra safe. 2 cans on the way. I respect that when you don't know what your opponent's doing, you're playing a CPL match that people are really trying to win and care about, that cheese is always an option. So going more inside safety, just eating the loss from a second cannon, and getting here, he's going to see lanes are made in hatchery that is nowhere near completion, so that is not the hatchery timer you're used to seeing. And he's going to get in here. He's going to see that the gas has been mined for a while. Lanes are chasing the probes, then moving across, and there is that fast lane speed I was saying. So there might be an opportunity for Quantum if they build up a decent amount of lanes to get the speed, to just kind of break through here. Nexus being started. I'm expecting a gateway up the front soon. It has to be up soon because you need to start building up zealots to actually fight stuff like this. Cannons won't be enough to really get the job done, unfortunately. This probe buying a lot of time though. Lane's just chasing that around. But I mean, I don't think Quantum Leap's really intending to do anything. And a lair being shown right in front of the face, so that's helpful that you see the lair. It's not Hydra, it's not some kind of crazy bust or anything. And we see this probe doing a very good job, even making sure to double back, make sure it's not just a bluff that's lair, then it gets canceled. So really getting good scouting info from Reef here. Gateway on the way. Definitely feels late though. Reef could be struggling for units as they're going through here. This probe staying alive for so long, getting as much information as they absolutely want here. So finally getting taken down. Link speed's done though. Should know that's here. And we gotta see if there's gonna be a flood of links being made from Quantum. If he's gonna try to put the pressure up. There's 2 hatcheries here, plenty of larvae to produce. But it's actually going to be drones. It's not going to be some kind of crazy commitment to an all-in. 2 cans here would definitely help in the situation. We're seeing a pylon actually go down at the natural. Finally, gas on the way, but like I was saying, it's a little bit hard. This gateway being late, you can see that the Zell production not really kicking in just yet. The Quantum Leap not leaning into going hard on these lanes or anything, just trying to build drones. And curious to see what the choice is going to be. This lair's finished, but we're not seeing any expenditure of that tech. It's not like a Spire just yet. It's not like we're seeing anything. We're seeing another hatchery go down to the base over at that 9 o'clock. So at least I think both players plan to move forward, but that opening that we saw from Quantum was a little... I don't love it. It's like you're going for a fast pool, you delayed the hatchery, you're doing all these things, but you didn't do anything with the advantage you had. Like we're seeing... There's a lair that hasn't been used yet. We're getting more hatcheries on the way, but they could have been up way earlier, so you'd have more drones and more money and all these things. So Quantum Leap doing a good job keeping the workers up. Or I think there might be more of Reef actually struggling, maybe cutting them here and there. But lots of drones for Quantum Leap keeping up so far in the economy. You can see this gateway not producing, just this like lack of zealot production between the late gateway and between having gaps of production. It really could be a problem later on. Zealot's going to get in here, see there's the hydras that's done. If you can get in the main, confirm that lair being completed, that's not Spire like done yet. The lair's going to just try to fight some of these drones, try to get a kill. Manages to end up getting one, stopping mining for a little bit. The drone's trying to fight the zealot. But we're seeing move out from Reef, not trying to overcommit here, doesn't want to dive into the mineral line, trying to get a lot of damage done. Gets a second drone kill, that's actually pretty significant. And you can see that Zell's gonna get cleaned up. Didn't manage to get in the main, didn't see that the Spire is on the way but not completed. And like I think that was a missed opportunity to get some nice scouting down with these ults. But I mean, still, you get 2 drone kills with a Zealot like that, you feel pretty good. Gateway's getting added down. Stargate and the Corsairs are on the way too, so that's going to be able to get the scouting info they're really looking for. This 3rd base did get completed. Is going to be able to stay on lines. Not really in the spot that you might be thinking of checking. Usually you'd be thinking up here. Maybe you'd be thinking like one of these other mains. You'd be taking the natural in the mains, secure 4 base, no problem. Actually taking that 9, that would catch me off a little bit. It's weird, but it is a gas base. But it being on the low ground, it makes it a little more suspect to me to choose that one. But if it doesn't get scouted and it works, that's all you're really looking for. +1 weapons on the way, Citadel as well, so all the usual pieces that we're used to seeing here. And with lair done and Hydra then as well, this could be getting lurkers at some kind of reasonable pace, so we'd have to keep an eye on. But here's that Corsair in the base, sees the Spire completed, gonna move over, see some Hydras actually made, not just the den, actually some Hydras made, and a pretty good drone saturation right now. Like even like lost a couple, but remember, there's nothing even here really mining just yet. But this Corsair scouting around, seeing what's going on, and Quantum Leap feeling pretty good. We are seeing that Hydra Den is starting that lurker aspect. A couple of lings were out to scout. We're seeing a little bit of a zealot move out. These are slow zealots, and they don't have speed even remotely on the way. +1 weapon's still pretty far off too, so it must be a little dangerous to move out so boldly here. We're not seeing any of that kind of tech moving forward. Citadel's done, but that's not to get zealot legs. It's to help get the Templar archives. It's to help keep the upgrades rolling. And no robo started either, so as this lurker aspect gets closer and closer, it could be good. These zealots just trying to beeline straight for the 9 o'clock and actually taking a lot of free damage as they walk on over, but the drones do just pop. We should be able to take this fight without too much issue. Some more Hydras trying to go through. And you're seeing Scourge. They're going to take out one of the Corsairs, so a little bit of investment. These Hydras should be able to clean up these zealots without any kind of issue here. And this threat is getting mitigated just a little bit. Reef trying to move out, but doesn't have any kind of upgrades to really make these Zealots threatening. And barely is going to get cleaned up, right? Right? There we go. More Hydras getting made, sent on the way. Back at home, that Templar Archive is going to be researching Storm. We're seeing Zealots being made here still. No, if you're researching Storm, you gotta actually make some high Templars. You see one in the way there. It's going to help reduce, have something. But you definitely want to have a couple more so you have some Stormers ready to go. We're seeing the Zealots move out again. Legs pretty far away. It's going to be a significant while. But +1 weapons is about to finish off. So trying to take another fight here. But it's not like Quantum Leap's been reinforcing defense with Lings. It's still just Hydras. And now Lurkers are on the way. There's no detection even remotely close to being started. No Robo even started, so that it's going to be a while before Robo and Observatory getting observers and moving it across the map. So Reef has a little bit of an opportunity to get some damage here, but once Lurkers show, Reef has to just leave here. He can't actually try to fight this. He's trying to engage on these Hydras, get some more kills. These Lurkers doing so much free damage, unfortunately, cleaning up that Zealot force without any issues at all. And Reef losing another section of the fighting force without really forcing anything. It's units that were going to get made. They didn't get any drone kills or like put any pressure on anything. You can see Quantum Leap with the drone count they're looking at here, and they got a decent amount of production. They're just kind of leaning into making a whole bunch of Hydras, working on some of the upgrades as well. And back at home, we're seeing a lot of cans going down. Knowing that there's a lot of stuff on the way, I respect the choice that you just don't want to be dying, don't want to be losing anything silly. And sending out a DT, this is the kind of move that could really help, because you're looking at this Corsair, it's moving around, it doesn't see Overlords, so you can help repel this force a bit or just look for an opportunity to get some damage done, which there's no detection at this base. That's an easy target. Quantum Leap trying to get in position though, still lots of Hydras and a lot more being made and rallied, but a couple Lurkers here as well. And like I was saying, detection's pretty far off. That Robo is on the way, but still not completed. And there's really the detection just going to be these cannons, and it's going to be difficult for the Zerg to really push in, but they're going to start sieging that front line. I don't think they're going to be able to get past the cannons, but they're going to keep building up some of these background units and working towards that first armor upgrade. So I don't know. Quantum Leap has money banked up. A pretty solid economy. Could be hard. As DT did get through, getting a couple kills off of there. There's no detection. It's going to stop mining. But here comes one Overlord to hang out here. DT managing to go down and escape it, so that DT not getting a lot of big damage. First storm going down some of these Lurkers, but like I was saying, you need to make a decent amount of these High Templar. When only one gets made, you burn one storm. Like, you got to get through and not lose things too carefully. This front wall really starting to go down here. It's an opportunity to go forward, baiting a couple Zealots into the attack. And Quantum Leap trying to move forward. It's a lot of cans. It's not a hard attack to actually commit to, and that Templar does have energy for one more storm. So Quantum Leap got to be careful to not overcommit. Just going to rely on sieging with these Lurkers. Still feeling comfortable. Both players focusing a lot on these little fights instead, though. Macro kind of going to pieces a little bit here in the background. But Reef Ego did get a base over in that bottom left. Cans being made, so managed to sneak that out, and the Zerg's not aware of that one. But still, more units being reinforced. We're seeing, of course, they're still scouting around, wants to make sure if Quantum Leap's still on 3 base, you feel pretty comfortable, especially after that DT shut down the 9 o'clock for a little bit. And more Templar finally being made, so you're going to have access to a couple storms. And this pylon up here should be powering all these cans. I don't think it's powering the bottom 2. It might not even be powering this one too. So we're seeing pylon getting warped in. This front one is threatening to go down, but the Hydra's moving a little too far forward, take a bunch of damage. There's definitely more Zealots here, there's more storms available, but still, like, gotta be careful with this detection. Walking into Lurkers, it's definitely a bad spot for pros if they want to overcommit for anything like this. Has that one observer, if they don't lose it to these Hydras, that could be good. But this wall keeps getting chipped down, and we're seeing more Lurkers getting made. This one observer gonna be so critical here that Quantum Leap's got to keep a hold of it. And just still more units being made, no big deal. This DT manages to sneak through. There's plenty of detection, but there's no army here to actually fight it. And because of the DT, they're killing in one hit. It's getting so much damage done here. Already up to 10 kills. That one that sent out earlier really massacred things. Quantum Leap not recognizing this, unfortunately. Oh man, this is a brutal spot. We're seeing Quantum Leap trying to push forward at the front, but look at that kill counter for that DT. It's skyrocketing here. Storm's not doing crazy good damage, hitting a couple of Lurkers, but the Hydra force getting cleared out. And there's plenty of cans still here. The Lurker's not going to be able to move forward. Good defense from Reef, and that one DT finally is cleaned up. But that was like, what, 20 kills at least? That did so much damage here. Quantum Leaf's economy really in shambles. And Reef manages to defend without too much issue. All the Lurkers getting taken out. There's detection here now, and we're seeing the gateways getting added on. The production really exploding a bit. Reef Ego doing a good job trying to spend the money the best they can. Meanwhile, Quantum Leap has a lot of bank back at home, but has to spend a lot of this larva. Got to remake those drones, got to get this economy up. And it's going to be hard because this is the opportunity for Reef to actually move forward and try to get something done. And you can see the Corsair still scouting around, confirms that there's no extra bases here. And Reef Ego has no interest in going for that natural where that DT did so much damage. It's going over for this 9 o'clock base, which there's no Lurkers here. There's barely any stacked defense. Only a handful of Hydras. And even like the Textures got to be careful because there's DT here as well. This is a big move out. We're seeing reinforcements from the side. They could catch those Templars, but the Hydra's so focused on actually getting to the space and helping defend it. Gonna be able to get back. They're gonna be able to pick off those Templars. So big hit from Quantum Leap to manage to actually get through there. But the army does get through. More reinforcements going, and Quantum Leap not gonna be able to defend that. They're gonna keep trying to look at all these Lurkers coming through, and there's no observer here with this army. This is definitely gonna be a big move. Taking a lot of free damage as they move forward, and they bunched up for a really massive storm. Gets cleared out as that observer goes in range. That storm alone was gonna do for all but one of the Lurkers. So. Big defense, but just not enough. And Reef Ego gonna take that game or what? Oh man, that was a wild one. That DT did so much damage. Caffeine. If you're still here, yeah, we can get in there. We're gonna take a little bit of break, see if they're around. Nablime expressing the love that I had I'm doing a solo cast tonight. It's the old days, man. It's like what you were doing back in the day and how people were going through. We're gonna give it a minute and see if Caffeine's still around. We can set up for a co-caster to finish off the night strong. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep going. Thank you, Reef. It's new mic. New year, new mic, new me. You know that whole thing. Alright, so Caffeine is around. I'm going to get on Discord so we can set that up. And then we'll get cracking into the next game, which will be game 2 for Reef versus Quantum Leap. And then we have one more series after that, as you can see it on the screen. We got everything set up. Well, let me make sure. Alright, hold up. Alright, sorry for the little bit of delay. We're going to try to get some more stuff going on in here. Alright, so Caffeine, you're in the voice. Say hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, there we go.
Maybe on Starcraft now.
Yeah, I think I gotta turn things down real quick. All right, I think we're good to go. Have you been watching the game so far?
Yeah, I've been watching from the start. At first, I was like glad that I avoided the ZVZs, but they were pretty fast and good. I actually liked them. I forgot how short they are. I'm just so used to TVT.
Well, that's your fault for playing Terran.
It's the best race. I won't complain when people say it's the best race, but it's also the hardest race. So
every race is hard. Don't be one of those guys.
Yeah. Pick your hill.
Brood War's a hard game. That's the end of the story. Doesn't matter what race you're playing. Everything's impossible. Trust me. When you play pros for a week on the ladder, you're going to be like, man, how do you actually win against Terran? It's impossible.
Yeah.
Every race is like
the best game. It's the best game, and I encourage everyone to play every race. Like that's how you're gonna learn how the other races kind of like lose. Like you're gonna find out how they're weak and stuff.
Yeah, definitely helps. So I got the game up. I hit you up on Discord with the password and everything.
Okay, let me get that.
Reef getting their ass handed to him, as you do. I actually played some ladder games earlier today. I was setting up my BSL account for the Coach-Pupil League because I'm not getting not Coach-Pupil League, and I went 3-3 so far. So I mean, ladder's going decent. Browser's still my strong suit on the ladder.
That's what's up. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. Give me 1 second.
Hey, I'd rather not talk at my wall by myself. I'd rather take the minute and set things up. Besides, I could just shill stuff like while we're doing it. We got next week match of the week. It's gonna be Tuesday. It's gonna be Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Don't teams to be determined, but we're gonna rotate them around. So if you saw the teams from last week, we're probably gonna have different ones in the mix. Tuesday's always the lower tier one. Wednesday's gonna be higher tier. It's always gonna be me. It's always gonna be in the blind. We might be having special third people like guest starring, but you're gonna get that reliable CPL casting. I know we're gonna have a spreadsheet for a bunch of the other casts moving up soon. We also dropped the ball. We didn't announce that Zeno Coop did a cast yesterday. We didn't announce that. I put in the announcements to the VOD, so check that out. Like, he didn't have much of an audience. He was just kind of rolling his way through. So definitely want to give that guy some love. He's a good dude and a good player. He knows what he's talking about. Even though he's trying to race switch this season, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, you should definitely check that out. He did so many games. Like, he started early because I thought he was gonna finish early, and I like tuned in really late, and he was like still chucking them out. So I was like, oh man. So definitely give that a check. All right. There we go. Jeez, peas.
Yeah.
Silpit, definitely my favorite map from the pool. So that's what's up.
Boring. I mean, it's all right.
What?
It's a good map. It's all right.
Come on, guys.
All
Already moving on to Silphid, like, not satisfied with Fighting Spirit. Gotta move on to the next target.
I mean, Sylphid's fine. It's all good. In the top middle for game 2, Reef's playing the orange Protoss. In the bottom right, it's Quantum Leap still playing that green kind of Zerg. We're gonna see if it's different style from the two players here. I'm definitely worried, like after watching the first game, because it felt like that there's definitely opportunities for players to get in and get some damage done. Not Sylphid being so much smaller, not having ramps make it easier for aggression. I think that's just maybe a recurring theme for tier 3. That it's just people are afraid to be aggressive because it could go wrong so easily. So always like looking for that guy that's like, no, I'm just getting 9 pull. I'm just gonna all in and just like just kind of cheese their way through, because it's definitely a good strategy for tier 3 play.
Yeah, I kind of felt like the Protoss like was hemorrhaging units a lot, and the Zerg was kind of like ramping up and was going to get strong, but he never really like geared up towards like a really good counter attack. He was just kind of had his hands full surviving really, and by the end of it, he ran out of banks quicker than the Protoss. So we'll see if he changes his game plan or if he wants to go for that macro style again.
Well, I mean, a big part of that game was also the 20 kill DT. If that's your strategy, just like, I'm going to get a DT, it's going to kill 20 drones.
Yeah, that's definitely like one of those like welcome to Starcraft moments.
Yeah.
It seems like you're just like, well, how does he not see that? Like, you get a little ping on the minimap, but that's it. And like, if you're like clicking units and they're making sounds and you're not paying attention, like it doesn't register. So
I don't think you get a ping in the minimap though. That's StarCraft 2. Like, you don't get an alert if it one-shots a unit.
You'll get like a red, like a ping, like the little red thing that makes the square, like if you alt click it, but it doesn't like give you like your units are under attack, like sound notification. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't ever notice that. Like, every time I see DTs, it's like I'm playing Pros vs. Pros, and either I have an observer or I immediately leave. Like, so.
Yeah, and I mean, I play Terran, so I really don't get one shot by things at all. So I didn't know about that either.
Yeah, definitely interesting. Now, Quantum Leap getting that hatchery up online. It was that overpool opening. Going to get reasonably fast gas as well. So looking like the style is very similar to what we saw in Game 1. And we're seeing a Forge expand, but this time, since the Scout was there, Reef did make that adjustment, didn't like blindly get 2 cannons, so being a little bit greedier, managing to get in and see what's going on with this probe. So definitely love that, and we're going to see if this probe lives forever again as Lynx try to chase it around. And see if he can stay long enough to see how that gas is spent, because, I mean, it's got mined early on. This could be for that lair, but you never want to get blindsided by any kind of Hydras.
Yeah, I mean, he started speed, so hopefully he's noted that there's no layer and there's no way it could be at the natural yet. So, um, yeah, he's gonna need to be careful about that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how things go. The wall looking a lot better for Reef this game. Forge on the left, as you should be doing, and then the gateway going down as well. I still need to see the more reliable production from the gateways. That like just so dangerous if you're slacking on some of the zealot production early on that it could go so wrong so quickly. Managing to get that second cannon down as well. So I mean, it's still getting that extra safety. But look at this wall. No one's be able to block it. The cannon's going to be able to take out some of the lanes, but two managed to get in the middle line, and Pro's not fighting back. So Quantum finding an opportunity to get some damage done, and they got a little bit of time before that cannon ends up finishing. But lane speed's done. They're moving around and managing to sneak in the main. They're going to be able to stay alive, get more harassment done, and see the tech choice whenever it gets available.
Yeah, he's really thrown Reef into a loop now. Like it's really a pain in the ass to deal with Lings in your base. Like he's got a zealot as his natural, but I mean he's just so busy moving the probes and stuff. Like building a cannon, it's rough. Yeah,
I mean,
didn't
if
think
if
would
you
do
got it,
that much, honestly. Like he made 4 Lings and he got speed before Lair, and he went in before speed was even done. But I mean, it's definitely thrown Protoss off, and he's got wow, Den. Okay, that's a late Den.
yeah, this is Quantum. I think might be ab-libbing a little bit here. That the lanes got in, they got some damage done. A couple worker kills, gets in there, sees that it's like not a cyber core, force the cannon in the main. So you're seeing some opportunities for like, ooh, maybe I did more damage than I'm thinking. And you see hatcheries being made, this fast Hydroden. I think this might not have been part of the plan for Quantum, but maybe reacting to like some perceived chance. It's like, oh, maybe I can get some big damage done here. And you can see Cybercore finally going down, still away from being finished, but a couple zealots moving across. There's no defense here at all.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened here.
it just
He
it
should
just
have
cut.
definitely known this was coming.
Well, it's just being greedy here, and this is what I was talking about. That when players are willing to attack, like you can find opportunities to get some things done. Drones trying to actually fight the zealots, but they're not taking
Yeah,
any
it
significant damage. Lots of drones going
doesn't go
down.
well. Yeah, these are not 2 Zerglings. These are 2 Zealots.
Yeah, they don't fuck around, and apparently neither does Reef, taking a pretty easy one there. I think Quantum just got caught with the hand of the cookie jar, trying to be a little too greedy and couldn't afford to do it.
Yeah, I guess he just got too excited with the Lings there for a second. Like he threw his 3rd hatch there in the natural. Like even if you wanted a 3rd hatch, like why would you put it there? Like I would have put a 3rd hatch at a base and then maybe put down some Sunkens, and then I don't know. Maybe his Overlord wasn't in position to see the Zealots come out, but I mean, you see the gateway. He's not spending money anywhere else. Like,
Well, it's just not having the links, so you can't threaten the backstab. Especially when it's speed links, you do have to be careful until you get like enough of a force where you can really fight. But
sure.
moving out with 2 links like that later on, like that is just greedy to make too many drones and not be able to defend against that, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he's gonna make like a huge wave of drones like that, like you need the Sunkens or the Lings. So, pick one.
Yep, I got the this next game up whenever you're ready.
All right.
Alright, so this is going to be our last match of the night, and it sounds like you're a Terran player, so I think you're going to like the fact that we got a Terran in the mix. It's like you're coming in just in time.
Yeah. Oh, it wasn't on purpose or anything at all.
Alright, so last game of the series we got here in the bottom left, it's Escalade playing that blue Protoss, and in the top left, the pink, magenta, purple, whatever color that is, Terran, it's Zogwarn.
You play Zerg, right?
I play Protoss.
Oh. Oh. Your name's Red. I always thought you were Zerg. Well.
My name's Red because I'm a casting coordinator.
Gotcha.
Like it's like extra red. It's got a little punch to it.
For sure. How do you feel about PvT on this map?
It's all right. It can be real bad. Terran gets the 4 base without too much issue. If you're really good with your Arbiter control, I think there's a lot of opportunities to get a lot of things done. Protoss can usually also take a lot of the map without too much contention because Protoss or the Terran can get to 4 bases so easily. But I do always worry about this because like you got those double bridges. If you get into a spot where you have to move across those, it's hard. And if like Terran can control those high ground pods outside of the natural and mineral third, like there's definitely a lot of opportunities where moving your Protoss army against Terran can be very difficult.
Yeah, I actually feel like a lot of Protosses just overlook the opportunity to like pounce on the Terran when they're grabbing a base. Like it really is painstakingly hard to like inch the tanks forward and like have everything protected like from a shuttle and so on. Like I see a lot of Protoss just like have like 8 Dragoons and they're just sitting in their natural and it's like those could be like sitting right outside of a Terran's base, like watching for any like vultures moving out or so on and so forth. And if you're worried about a drop, like, 3 or 4 goons can really just handle whatever's going to come out of a drop ship. You just need to use your observers really well.
Well, early in the game, it's hard because like you want to get the observers, but you do have to use the Gasta if you want to go for arbiters. You're trying to get some of your tech up, and that first observer always has to go to the Terran base because you need to like see what they're doing. How many factories do they have? A science facility? Is it 1 or 2 armories or no armories? You gotta like really know what's going on. Now, fortunately, Escalade getting that first scout off gets in here. And it's going to be able to see that it is gas and a Rax. It's going to be some kind of normal opening, not like a Rax FE that uses the bunker or anything like that. And Zogward's going to be caught off a little bit for a loop. He's going to get that last scout, which for what we're seeing, nothing unusual. But this always could be a threat for player maps. Like going Nexus first is always an option.
Yeah, I think a factory opening is really good for beginner players. It's just way more safe and solid. Rax opening is really fragile to a zealot pressure. Like it really is a pain in the ass fighting those things with just Marine and SCVs.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you got the good building placement, you can definitely help mitigate some of the pressure from that. But it's also risky to go for early zealots because, like, what if Escalade didn't get the first scout? Like, you make an early zealot, you're trying to put some pressure on. It's hard to even find your opponent in time before they can really get set up. Now, we did see Zogwern. He pulled guys out of the gas as he hit 100, so the first factory's on the way, but that's going to be able to set up, get a bunker up the front, start that CC relatively fast. And Escalade's not adding on a early second gateway or anything like that. We're going to see if it is going to be a 1021 trying to get some real kind of normal units up, or is it just going to be one gateway production and just going into a quicker nexus?
Oh, let's see. Third pylon, so I'm thinking probably just a Nexus. Terran, probably get an add-on, start the tank. Okay, he's getting the second gateway. I guess it's a little bit safer. I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely safer getting the extra production. If you lose the scout in your base and you don't know what you're looking for, which is, remember, tier 3, it's going to be some inexperienced people, some people still trying to learn the basics of the game. One of the big things I see is when the probe was still alive, when you saw Zogwern pull the guys out of the gas, and like you didn't see this easy start, but when you pull guys out of the gas, that's usually an indication for an expansion, not for a 2 factory play. You need all the gas you can get for that kind of stuff. So getting the second gateway here, if you're not going to put pressure on, which he did make the gateway a little bit late too to put the pressure on, it's safe, but it's not getting you the edge you're looking for. You can see even here, even getting the robo, like really being safe one base player. Gonna try to use the Dragoon range and force some repair on the bunker, try to get something done. But with Zogwern, like getting that early expansion, has the bunker to slow things down, and he's actually going straight for siege. No mines, no vultures, no map control. He's just trying to set up everything. And Escalade here really just needs to have expansions to fight this, but there's no repair in the bunker. It's gonna go down before there's anything really happening.
He needs to get there. Oh man.
Well, a couple of the Marines going to get picked off. That bunker going down. Unfortunate here. Now, Escalade's not reinforcing with more Dragoons. They're getting made, but they're staying back at home. This could be an opportunity. 2 goons could be doing big damage to his tank. If you can kill that first tank before losing any of these goons, it's going to be bad. The repair just slightly too slow. Going to be able to kill off all these Marines. Going to slow down his bunker. And that first tank going down, Escalade's in a great position.
Yeah, he scouted 2 gateways into Robo, so he should have known that he just needed to hold his natural really and not take damage, and he would have been way ahead. It's 2 bases versus 1, simple math. But he was late on the repair, and things go downhill really fast when the bunker goes down. It's kind of like your little blanket, and he wasn't really careful with the. And it just goes downhill really fast because the Protoss units start cascading in, and these aren't like Zerglings. They don't die easy. Like, they're tough.
Yeah.
But the Nexus is late, so if he can just clean this up and like quickly enough and like get back on SCV production, like he'll be like okay. His money's banking a bit, like he's not really making anything else. He seems really thrown off by this.
Well, unfortunately, Escalade not playing it as well as they could as well. Like, they cleared out all the Marines, they cleared out all the units from the bottom, and they were trying to get some damage here, but there's an opportunity to instead move up the ramp into the main, and not letting that Terran get on that ramp with some help, get that siege in there to repair everything. So while a lot of damage got done to the buildings, nothing actually got killed. And if he moved those Dragoons in, he could have gotten that next tank as it popped out and really kept the pressure on. So a little bit of a fumble, but that still buys time. It slows down the mining from that expansion. Escalade got their nexus up, so as they were really far behind before, it's not nearly as bad now. And even you see Robo is done. They got the observers done. So he's going to be able to get that scouting info, see what's going on here. Zagor still has to play back a little bit because he did take some notable damage early on.
Yeah, I'd say the game's like pretty much completely evened up. Maybe the Protoss is slightly more ahead because they've got more gateways up and the Forge is starting. Terran's still on one factory, no armory. The second factory's not done. He's gonna take a while to really get any sort of like map presence out. And I mean, Protoss really, you can just add gateways and make units, and you're on a pretty good path to victory there.
Yeah. Now, I like the reaction we're seeing. Not sure if it was because, but the observer went across natural, saw 3 siege tanks, and no vultures. So there's no map presence at all. Zagorn really going to be defensive. And I see Escalade moving a probe down to that mineral only third. If you can get another base set up really quickly, that's going to definitely yield like a good spot to be in. But you see him actually moving out on the map with a couple of these Dragoons. Decent amount of force here. Now, this is an attack that we're looking at what Zagorn has. It could go well because there's not buildings in the way to slow things down. All the tanks are on the low ground. It's not like anything down the high ground to be hard to hit. So this could go pretty bad, but he's taking a lot of free damage before he actually engaged. He's going to have to actually commit to the fight here. The bunker's full up as well. Some of the Dragoons, being Dragoons, are walking off to the right side, but still doing some pretty big damage. 2 tanks going down, third one as well. The other one's not sieged up here, but he's still fighting in the range of the bunker. Kills off all the tanks, loses a bunch of Dragoons to do it. That's a trade that you think you'll take as Protoss every day of the week.
Oh, for sure. If you just have your tank count reset like this, like, you can never really get anything done. And of course, Protoss will probably take a base anytime soon. And meanwhile, hopefully, he's getting legs. Yep, just started it, so... Zealots will have legs. It's not ever going to be a good time to push out. Not that that will ever be a thing.
Oh, trying to move down to avoid the siege
Yeah,
tank, but it's still in range, man. He's got to...
Of our fathers here, what have we learned? Going in the exact same spot, like, that is a Protoss graveyard.
I mean, I saw that there's that opportunity that the siege tank went down to the bottom ramp. I saw it siege and the 4 Dragoons weren't even fighting anything. I'm like, that tank should be dead right now. So like 4 Dragoons kills that in 2 hits. That's an easy way to just walk in, get it done. You wouldn't even get a siege tank shot off, but unfortunately Escalade trying to get out of the range of it instead of just taking the fight. Loses the pressure he had, but still he keeps resetting the tank count. He keeps doing a lot of damage. And he has this observer that sees what's going on. I would love that observer to be in the base, get a better idea of how many factories you're looking at. Is there armory? Is there any kind of upgrades on the way? And that would give you a better idea how you want to play this. Finally, that Nexus goes down to mineral only. Definitely feels delayed compared, because there's definitely spots where you had more than 400 minerals during that attack. But still, getting it done without too much of an issue. Both players about same on the worker count, which feels like Escalade could have been doing better at that as well. But he's doing pretty good just with the macro, keeping the army strong.
Yeah, it'd be nice if Protoss had a bit more probes, honestly. He should be like... he's still in a really good position, but he should be in a much better position, and he should have like a much healthier economy, letting him get like tech much quicker. But I mean, he's still ahead, but it's not as ahead as you'd really like. Terran just started +1, so I mean, he's still got to just sit back in his base for another however long.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. But he is getting that next CC up. Actually building on the low ground instead of in the main and flagging it over. So a little bit bold there. And we're seeing not adding on a ton of extra factories or anything, just getting some add-ons, keeping the eater production going the best they can. I did see a shuttle's made. There's some DTs and some High Templar in here, and Storm's about to finish. There's going to be an opportunity for some big harassment from the Protoss player. But he still has to get in the base, and he's got this Observer. It's not really scouting a good, clean line. There's already some turrets here, so got to be careful how they approach, but that could definitely do some big damage between a couple DTs and a couple of Storms real quick.
Yeah, I honestly feel like this is a mistake. Like, Terran is just sitting on 2 bases turtling. Like, you can harass their economy, but it's like, they're, I mean, that's a monster storm. That.
Hey, he's even dropping off 1 High Templar and 1 DT in the natural. Moving forward, there is that turret, but it's not going to be quite enough to shut down the shuttle. It's a suicide mission, but well worth it. Big damage from both these Storms on the Templar. And the DT's going to harass thing. Actually, the SCV helping kill that DT before it kills anything. But you lose some high-powered tech units, but do a lot of economic damage. Look at Zogwar's worker count now way behind. I think that was definitely worth it from Escalade to make that kind of move. Definitely went well. Seeing a question in the chat about how many factories can a 2-base Terran support. The big thing I've heard about that, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is it's more how many add-ons can you support, and that's 1 per gas. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, you can do 2 add-ons and still get like some things like an armory and like squeeze out some gas units, but if you want to like get like +2 weapons in a science facility, you'll usually stick to like one machine shop. Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, Protoss should have been up here near this Terran third from the get-go. Like, there's no reason this should have even gone up, in my opinion.
Yeah, Escalade even just sending Zealots to the 12, I think not fully aware of the position Zogwar's actually in. It's going to force the lift on the CC. There's just no Terran force that can actually come and fight this. It's still a lot of tanks, so it's going to be hard to break through any further as long as they're sieged in time. Which there's that siege, so that should be good enough, but still going to slow us down. It's actually going to kill the CC, so nice attack from Escalade. As long as he doesn't overcommit and keep pushing forward, should be feeling good right now. There's a perp down to 6. I'd love to see us start another Nexus.
Yeah, and see right here, Terran's going up here. If Protoss had that army in his natural coming up through the double bridges, and then he used his army in conjunction that's on the high ground, like, this would just get crushed. Like, that's what I'm talking. Like, you should stay on Terran's ass all the time. Like, there should be an observer over this. There should be a shuttle with zealots. Like, you should always just be looking to like end the game against a Terran. Like, if they just get careless, like, kill them. And it doesn't matter who it is, if it's Boxer or if it's Flash.
Well, I'm gonna call shenanigans on that. Like, those guys will be able to survive, but most players, you're absolutely right. There's you have points where you can really get there.
Flash, but Boxer, no.
Boxer is all micro, of course.
We have our own Boxer defeater in our CPL G5.
Yeah, unfortunately not on my team, but man, that could have been fun. Now we're seeing Escalade trying to poke forward here. There's so many siege tanks here, which that's number one. That's your clue. Don't attack. It's that. But really, the big thing is it's all siege tanks. There's no vultures, and that's the clue. You could set up more bases. He's taking the 6 down here. I would actually love. You could probably just take a 5th right here as well. Because if you had that observer in the Terran base, the factory count's still not big. It's still double armory too, so you could really lean into it. And now that science facility's done and more things are getting added on, it's gonna be a long time before Zogward really feels comfortable moving out here. But that observer not in the main, not getting that critical information, unfortunately. And we're just seeing Escalade kind of build up slowly, but it could be so much greedier. And I'm seeing the classic tech choice. How do you feel about a lot of carriers?
I mean, I don't think 4 Stargates is really appropriate. It's a lot of money.
No, it absolutely is not. Like, yeah, this is way too much investment. 2, maybe 3. He doesn't really have the economy for 3, so I think 2, and you slowly build it up. Because once you get to like 4 carriers, that's all you really need. And then you can just slowly build through. And if you only build 2 Stargates, that won't take tremendously long. And then you can switch into Arbiters and be completely fine. I'm actually curious to see if he actually got the +1 weapons for the air. That's one of those things that you should be doing if you're going carriers. The cost for investment is so well worth it. And I don't remember actually seeing it being made.
Yeah, steering the spotlight a bit back to the Terran player. He's kind of been on like 2,000 minerals for a while now, and he hasn't started mining from his third yet, even though these tanks have been over here for a while. I don't know if he's swamped, but like this is like this really should be like the primary focus of your game right now. I don't know what else he's doing, but uh, getting getting a lot of SCVs and getting SCVs to all your bases that you can mine from should be priority one, and then like getting more factories. Like let's see, 4 factories in 16 minutes. Like it's not great. +2 is only halfway done. Like you really want to have like precise goals and like be hitting like benchmarks. Maybe not all of them and not as precise, but the play is a bit all over the place, and uh, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you're not wrong, but we are seeing some good moves from Zogren here. There was a scan that did see some of the carrier transition, so a lot of lives being made. Charm boosters on the way as well, and it's still doing a pretty good job with the +1, the attack upgrades. 1-1 right now, +2 weapons, a little over halfway finished at this point, so that's going to be done fast enough. Seeing Zogren still scanning around, just seeing in the base wants to get a number and sees that it wasn't a fake. There is carriers really being made right now, so knows what they're trying to do here. And I love that kind of decision, just trying to keep on top of it, see what's going on, because carriers are one of those really good units, but you do have to know how to handle it. And both players going off to the other corners on the right side, taking more bases. So Ogwarns, I think this is a lot sneakier, and it's not going to get scouted for significantly more time until a couple of those SUVs moved onto the map and maybe gave it away.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could just take the 12 o'clock base, honestly, and he's really strapped for gas, and he has been for a while. He Against carriers, you can posture a bit more aggressively against a ground army because those things are expensive and they take a long time. So go ahead and be a bit more greedy where you can. Um, like, because getting 2 upgrades and affording Goliath, like, it's really tough. And all that extra minerals, those can go for turrets because you're probably going to have to strap in for the long haul. I don't think he could go and kill him anytime soon. He just doesn't have enough factories to make any units.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Escalade finding that top right base, very minimal investment, just the army positioning. It's going to force the lift in the CC. Now, it should be able to float over to the 12, like you're saying. That's usually what I'm saying. Terra can take 4 bases real easy. The 4th one would be the 12, keep everything consolidated together so you could easily control one part of the map without too much issue. Now, Zogwern's money, it's a lot of minerals, having struggled with some of the gas, and this does come to a part of it where your third base is on a mineral only, it's a little hard to get through, but look at all these carriers moving through it. Even got an Arbiter with them just to get that cloaking done. Now, I don't know if about that +1 upgrade. We're seeing the ground army trying to go in from Escalade as well, well ahead of the
This is where
carriers.
Protoss could just throw it all away if they just suicide their entire ground army. The carriers alone don't do enough. Yeah, he's just gonna lose everything he has on the ground. This little flank on the right is cute, but it should have been here way quicker.
Yeah, I think that's one of those, you play it on the mini-map, you send everything into attack, and you kind of notice that, oh, they're very far apart. It's a little hard to actually coordinate all this, but still, like a big part of this, a lot of things do go down. The Goliath's very busy fighting the carriers, and they're trying to do the damage still a significant amount. I can't tell if they're really trying to fight the carriers or they're trying to fight the interceptors. The Arbiter's definitely helping a lot.
Carriers I've known, they're just right on top of the Goliaths, not giving a single fuck. I mean, they sniped the command center and just sat there and spat at the Goliaths. Like, very rude. Very rude carriers.
I mean, they were hanging out the Arbiter. That Arbiter didn't even get hit one time. But a lot of the army from the Terran does get cleared out here. And we're seeing it's still a lot of Goliaths. This is a good opportunity if you want to make a switch, go heavy on the ground army, fight your way through. And we're seeing now this some of the Arbiter upgrades. It was recall first, which is usually never the way you want to go. Always get stasis first, because by the time you finish stasis and upgrade recall, you'll have the energy for one or the other. So stasis is always more immediately useful. And then other than that, like, we're seeing the +1 attack upgrade. So we're going to keep leaning into carriers, keep going for it, despite how many Goliaths he's actually seen. It's going to be interesting to just try to keep going forward. But Zogward's going to... Yeah.
Definitely the right choice. I mean, sure, there's no surprise, but Terran is so strapped for resources. Goliaths are just not what you want to be making. But I mean, you really have to against carriers. And see, the switch back into ground is going to be like the final nail in the coffin. He did have a good number of tanks here. They're just caught out of position, and they're all going to die now because that's the life of the Terran player.
Yeah, that high ground advantage is going to help out a lot too. Manage to get a couple of these tanks. Now it's just going to be Goliaths versus Vulture, or Goliaths versus Dragoons. Unfortunately, no tanks to help support them out. And Protoss upgrades, low-key, very strong. 3-2 upgrades. Just keeping on top of them. Actually ahead of the Terrans still, so doing a great job doing that. We see that these Goliaths just kind of mowing their way through. If you can like keep reducing this Goliath count, there comes these carriers into that natural. That's exactly the thing you're trying to do. Get them out of position, reduce their numbers a bit. These carriers could really take over the game, because look at this. It's 9 carriers and they have +1 weapon now. This is a very strong force, and you're not even gonna be able to be anything but Goliaths, but I don't even think that's gonna be enough at this point.
Yeah, Terran's pretty overwhelmed at this point. Very well played by the Protoss for sure. I definitely thought for a moment there he was going to suicide his entire ground army, and then the Terran was just going to walk right back into the Protoss' base.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a concern, but those, man, just going carriers. I did that in one of the ladder games earlier, and I forgot how fun going carriers is. It's just like, oh yeah, they're so strong. I don't even have to worry about what I'm doing. No finesse, no arbiters, not getting EMP'd or anything. Just throw the boys. Great times to be had, but we got game 2. Sylphid, less of a carrier map. I feel like that's not going to be quite the option here.
Yeah, no, arbiters are just the way to go. I mean, you can always go for them as like a surprise, but there's just really not a lot of good spots to move them here.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how this one goes. We got game 2. Zogwern's up at the 12 o'clock. They're down a game. They're going to have to fight their way back. Escalade won with carriers in game 1. They're starting in the bottom left, and I don't think it's going to work here, so I'm curious to see what the change is. My recommendation to every Protoss player on this map against Terran, 10-15, 2-gate, man. It's so good. Like, there's no ramp. It's hard to defend. You can just throw the pressure on. If they manage to defend it, you just double expand behind it. Feels good, man.
Yeah, that's just another part of it's a rite of passage as Terran, just surviving all these quote-unquote standard openers from the other races. It's not cheese, guys. No, but
no, it's not cheese. No, you can take that back. I know you're joking, but no, you be clear that 10-15 is not cheese.
No, it's not. It's just an aggressive opening that you can just die to, which is like almost everything is Terran. Like, yeah, you need to be able to defend it though. It's not that bad here, honestly. It felt way worse on maps like Tau Cross and Longinus that had like a big ramp at your main and at the nat. Here, it's pretty like funnelable, but we'll see. It would be a good place to do it again, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, we're talking about Protoss aggressive maps, because I just know from my personal experience what I like to do, but one of the big things about Terran on this map is, because, and for the exact same reasons, it's 3-player, it's short distance, there's no ramps to help you defend. Strong FDs could be very threatening. You could do like bunker rushes that can help out a lot, or just go too fast because it's so hard to actually get enough space to slow that down effectively.
Yeah, I like aggressive stuff too. I mean, the map is open, but there's kind of like lanes you go through, and so I feel like mines are really strong at just controlling positions. And I don't really like the turtle style here as much because that third gas base is actually like really low money, and then your other third is just a mineral only. So I like to like get aggressive and like create some sort of lead, and then I'll just naturally expand to the other bases. Not great SimCity from the Terran here. A Zealot would kind of wreak havoc. Anything can go between the barrack and the depot, but I don't think we'll see. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see a Zealot, so it won't matter.
Yeah, at this point, you're bagging up the money as the Protoss player. You're not worrying about it. Cybercore is on the way. If there's gonna be 2 gates, you would definitely see the move for it sometime soon. But look at Zogward off to the side. It's either a little bit of the map, like not the knowledge, or is some kind of weird proxy location. I think it is just maybe missing the starting base a little tiny bit. It happens to everyone. Yeah. Trust me, I remember my first CPL game on this map, I did that exact same thing.
Starcraft. And you should have seen some of the older maps. The pathing on those are horrible.
Oh Oh, dude, no, I'm an old player too. Like I'm from the like 9, 09, 10 era. Like that's Jaedong Flash and
Did you
Misu
ever play
Storm.
on Loki?
No, I have not. Actually, I've seen games on it though.
There's like a tiny crack in the middle. Oh, so you know the map, yeah. I think a ghost fits in there. Everything else like needs to like be pathed like manually around. People were complaining about Blue Storm. Man, there are much worse maps.
Worst map I remember playing on was Demon's Forest, but that's just because they threw trees everywhere.
Somebody I know in my Discord is throwing a tournament, and that's one of the maps. It doesn't look. It kind of reminds me of a Starcraft 2 map, honestly, with the way the forests are set up at the back of the natural. But the middle just reminds me of that one snow. Okay, so yeah, we are seeing the 2 gates again, with the range halfway done. The bunker's already up though, so you have everything you need to survive. It just comes down to, and he did last time too. You just really need to like be ready to repair. One SCV per goon will keep it alive indefinitely. So as long as if there are 3 goons hitting it, if you can just get 3 SCVs repairing it before it blows up, it's gonna live. And
Yeah.
you should be watching that. Like that is your one thing to watch right now.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Zogward had a little trouble scouting the map, missed the initial scout in the bottom right base, also missed the immediate going over to the other base. He saw them moving towards that high ground, the 7 o'clock base instead. So the SUV gets here notably late. It's going to come here in time to see the 2 gateways and Robo, see the lack of Nexus, but not as much preparation. Range isn't done. That Dragoon takes a lot of damage, barely a little bit into the hole as well. Has to pull back, can't really start seizing that bunker just yet. And we're seeing...
much more prepared this time, pulling 2 SCVs ahead of time. Like I hope he learned from the first game. Like you should just survive, and you're in a really good position here as Terran.
Yeah, it definitely seems reasonable. I think we're seeing the same kind of thing. I am looking though. Zogwern has 2 guys in the gas. They did that before while they were getting that CC up, but hasn't added the 3rd guy back in just yet. And Marine's trying to get bold outside the bunker, and Escalate not paying attention, loses that first Dragoon. That's definitely going to hurt so much, especially since you don't know if there's some kind of planned early push coming in from the Terran player. I mean, we are seeing a very similar build from last game, though. Zogward's still opting to go with Siege mode first. No mines, no Vulture upgrades to put pressure on. And we're still getting that Observer, adding on more gateways here. So I'm kind of expecting something similar. I just really don't want to see that carrier transition. It's not nearly as good on a map like this.
Yeah, I mean that's a ways off here, and he does not have the lead he did in the first game. They're actually dead even, so we'll see who decides to make like the first real steer into uncharted territory. Right now everything's really conventional, and the Protoss being really safe, getting 3 gateways before doing anything else. We'll see if he gets a Citadel or if he gets a 3rd Nexus or what.
Well, I'm really hoping for a 3rd Nexus. If you're trying to commit to 2 base and put pressure on, you have to go through with Zogward opening that siege mode first. And I think like what we saw before, like I'm expecting it to be okay. Now drops are a great option here, especially when your opponent's at the 12 o'clock, because that gas is so far out of the way. The main's huge. It's easy to sneak things in there and get some pressure on, but you still see that Zogward added on to decent amount of Marines. And I think they're trying to build up a little bit of force, trying to push out a bit, and adding on a 3rd factory here instead. So I think this is already a little bit different than what we saw before. Maybe planning to be a little more aggressive, like we were saying.
I mean, I totally agree with it. It's helping him spend his money better, and that's really name of the game here. Spend your money, get a lot of money, make workers, get a lot of money, and spend your money as you get it, and keep reinforcing your army. It's a recipe for success, no matter what you're doing.
Nothing major, but I was told in the chat that Zogward's actually female, so we gotta switch up the pronoun on that one.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I just call them Terran or Protoss, but
I mean, whatever works. But I mean, we're still seeing Escalate building up that unit count, not having any to issue, but both players not really super great about their worker production. It feels like both of them falling off a little bit as they're trying to build up things, which I like that much more for Zogward here. Like, that Marine count keeps going up. There's a bunch of tanks, and Escalate pulled very far away. If there was a move out there, they wouldn't even know about it before it managed to walk through that like fake high ground 3rd base that the Terran could take. That would be just in their base with no detection. Now we are seeing the observers on the field. They're finally going to move out and see things, but Zogward's force looking very intimidating. If they want to move out here, it's going to be very hard for Escalate to hold.
Yeah, if she just moves out right now and then starts like vulture upgrades and then just rallies a bunch of vultures, I think that's just the end of the game. Yep,
Well,
here we go.
Observer gets in there and sees a little bit of this move out here, but look, there's only a couple goons here. I actually don't like this slow, methodical sieging up here. Like, when there's everything's so out of position for the pros, like, time is of the essence. Move across the map fast before they have a chance to produce the army and really get in there.
Yeah,
It's,
like in this situation, it's okay because the Protoss doesn't have like another Nexus that's going to kick online, or they're not throwing down a bunch of gateways, which would save them. So it indirectly is working out. But normally, yeah, if there's just 4 goons to your 8 tanks, like just go squash it with tank mode and then get going. But even without that, they're going to be able to squash this Protoss army in the middle.
well, they got split up around that high ground. There's definitely these goons down the south side could take out these 3 tanks without any issue, and it would be hard for
Oh
Zogger to
man,
actually
they're on
reinforce
this
it.
man too.
Yeah, this is a little bit fumbled. Now, getting sieged in, they're going to give time for the reinforcements, and still these
Oh
goons.
no.
Yeah, this is a fumbled attack.
Protoss army.
Oh man, so many of the tanks ended up going down. Now, still doing big damage to these Dragoons off to the side, but all the tanks going down. The Goons are actually going to be able to live through, and without any of the mines or any of these kind of upgrades, they're going to be able to keep the control. Like, Escalade got gifted kind of a thing, and Zogren actually tapping out, realizing the game. I don't think the game was over. Like, that game was not over, but I could. When you fumble an attack like that, I get the fucking out
I mean,
kind of mentality.
For the Protoss, that went about as good as you could ever hope for. I don't think it was over either. From this position, Terran can try to come back with some Vulture harass, but yeah, there were no upgrades started, no third command. I mean, I guess I could understand what they were thinking, but I agree. You could still play this out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to look at some of the fights and babysitter units as they move across. That really was just because the units got split up going around that base. But unfortunately, that means Escalade takes it 2-0, and that's the end of my cast tonight. This is actually a short one, more than I was expecting it to be, but still some interesting games. I want to thank you for coming on to join me a little bit. Hope you had a good time.
Yeah, dude, it was great. I'd love to do more. Hit me up.
Well, I'm always looking around for things in the caster channel, so if anyone's looking and you want to try out casting, you don't need experience. I didn't have it before I started, so just message me on Discord. We can get you set up. Match of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, 7 o'clock. That's on the official Coach-Pupil League Twitch. Make sure you're following that. Be in the Discord, get all those updates. But that's it for me tonight. I'll see you all next week, hopefully Tuesday, Wednesday. Other than that, just have a good night, everyone.
All right, night all.